Well, guys, we are back for another episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, episode 122. And what are today's topics?
Sam Kerr avoids a hate crime charge. Elongated Muskgrave continues to implode. Trump fucks over his supporters again. Senile old man Trump tariffs Canada and Mexico. Conservatives are weak beta males. Trump is backing up Ukraine and Gaza. Thank you, dumb leftists. And talking about men's issues on Valentine's Day.
And then expect us to give you chocolate on White Day in a month if we're in Japan. So what do we start off with first?
Alright, we're going to start with, I want to talk about the Sam Kerr not found guilty of hate crime charge.
Alright,
Because this is such a fucking stupid thing.
Alright, you know the context, now explain away for my pea brain.
Alright, so Sam Kerr is a Australian professional football/soccer player as a striker for the Women's Super League club Chelsea and the Australian women's national team. She's been out for about a year and a half because she tore her ACL.
Sounds like an NFL injury.
Yeah, but she's seen her often as a role model, and she was for girls wanting to get into sport. And also, she was also involved with getting the Australian women's national team, but women's sport in general, a lot more prominent in Australia.
Just like women's soccer, America's national team, which conservatives are always mad about for some reason.
Yes. And so, we start on the 30th of January, 2023. This is like the whole thing, everything that happened. And because this will give you an idea how fucking stupid this whole thing was. Alright, so her and her partner, they both hailed a black taxi. And they'd had a bit too much to drink, I'll be honest.
Of course, as always.
Yeah. Like, that's probably the big thing I'd say to Sam Kerr is that
never
try
drink,
and
people.
Moderate the amount you drink.
Never drink again, people. Drinking bad, okay? Like Mr. Mackey says.
Yep. So, she was unfortunately a bit sick out of the window of the cab after the journey began. We're going to go home. Then, as soon as Miss Kerr got sick and was sick, the driver locked the windows and doors and began driving erratically. They thought they'd been taken hostage by the driver and were in fear of their lives. During this time, the driver had called the police, concerned about the behaviour of them, and was advised by the operator to drive to the nearest police station. Sam Kerr's partner tried to call the operator, but was hung up on 3 times during this time. So then shortly before arriving at Twickenham police station, one of the taxi's windows was smashed. That was done by her partner, by Kerr's partner, because she said she was scared and wanted to escape. And then there was a recorded interaction. The police were pushing for them to pay for the damage to the taxi window, the fare and the cleaning fee. Initially, they declined to pay for it, saying they'd done nothing wrong, but would later agree to pay for it. Okay, then during the interaction, they were pretty, there was a fair bit of antagonism on both sides. One of the Constable Lovell told Miss Kerr to calm yourself down, young Missy. Miss Kerr was talking about at one point white privilege and calling police officers irrelevant. And being called irrelevant, Constable Lovell was recording saying, "So are you," to Miss Kerr. And to be fair, under cross-examination, both of them admitted they could have handled themselves better. Throughout the video, Miss Kerr implored officers to listen to the recording of the taxi, as she tried to tell them they had been held against their will, but they were not believed by any of them. They took the driver's word that he didn't have a camera, even though there's a good chance he did somewhere. And and Miss Kerr believed that she felt the officers were antagonizing her, and in the station not believing her version of events. Officers said they didn't believe the pair, and they said they called emergency services from the taxi. She had called. There was a message played in the phone in the court. And then in the culmination, Miss Kerr calls the officers effing stupid and white. And she was arrested for racially aggravated harassment and criminal damage. But the criminal damage was dropped after they agreed to pay. By the way, that eventually just died off. Initially, the constable didn't want to pursue the charge, and then over the next 11 months, the police actually convinced him to pursue the racially aggravated harassment, which I've read is basically a hate crime charge without actually being a hate crime explicitly a hate crime charge. And they had the trial for a long time. So, yeah. And so, yeah. The jury was asked to consider if she intended to harm policemen with her words, whether they did cause them harassment, alarm, or distress, and if the words were racially motivated. The prosecution had argued that Miss Kerr was angry and drunk, and they argued it was a deliberate attempt to harm Constable Lovell, and the prosecutor also argued the statement was racially motivated. The thing is, so Kerr was trying to make a comment about power and privilege, believing the officers were treating her differently because of her skin color, and Miss Kerr's lawyer questioned why Constable Lovell only made mention of how being called stupid and white made him feel in a second witness statement, submitted nearly 11 months after the incident took place. Again, he may have had to have been convinced by it. And so she accused him of making up the impact of her words to get a criminal charge to stick, something he denied. So overall, and it took the jury 4 hours to find her not guilty.
In other words, the British are soft like they were when I played as France on Vicky 2 just now.
Yep.
Imagine let me just walk for the English Channel to sack London with no resistance. And now you wonder why Australia's French now.
At least in your world, your game.
So, yeah. Don't drink, people. That should be obvious. Never drink again. Yeah, both sides were being, assholes and all that. And was it really needed to bring up the cop or whatever being white? No.
It probably wasn't. It probably wasn't necessary, but you know what she was trying to get at, the privileged position that he was relative to her, and also she never intended for it to hurt Paley because it took 11 months for a second witness statement to appear that would said he did.
Mm-hmm. Almost sounds like something like Dum Dum Leftist would say, though.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Dum Dum Leftist would say that unironically, and then double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, sextuple, septuple down.
Yep, you gotta be careful when you mention stuff because unfortunately conservatives use it to take us down when it's bullshit and all that.
Yep.
So you need to be more careful on that. But yeah, this is really silly. A whole year for crying out loud? Come on, dude. Mm-hmm. A whole year?
And another year before the trial actually happened.
This is some silliness and nonsense. But then again, we expect from Turf Island.
Yep.
Now imagine
home of most of the turf neo-Nazis that want to put trans people in gas chambers.
Led by their Fuhrer, J.K. Rowling.
J.Q. Rowling. Remember, she's J.Q. Rowling now.
J.Q. Rowling. And she's still jealous that she'll never be loved like Britt Allcroft. Oof. So stay mad. So yeah, this is absolutely silly. What do you guys say?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just such a stupid thing. Like you can tell that they wanted to get Sam Kerr in trouble, probably because they're jealous of his abilities. But yeah, just Yeah. It's just so stupid. And so pointless.
Just let me control France and I'll take care of Turf Island for you like I've already done twice today. And Spain and the Netherlands with Belgium on their territory and North German Federation and Austria all at once. All 5 of them, and I beat all 5 of them. Did I mention I think I killed like 2 million British troops to like 200,000 French I lost?
Yep.
I hope you enjoy being French and eating baguettes down there now. Alright, so yeah. Good on her. This was silly and all that. Oh, that was funny. So now, on to the next topic.
Elongated Muskgrave continues to implode.
And the orangutan, too, as polls show. Once again, his polls are tanking. And conservatives kept, oh, look at this CBS poll. Trump has like 56% approval. 1 poll out of everything else. Very biased.
Yep. And also, love the biased polls.
And I thought you guys hate mainstream media and CBS because they're liberals. All of a sudden, when they say something you like, you defend them.
They're libtards.
Yeah, you're all a bunch of libtard cucks. Imagine being brain dead. But yeah, Kyle, of course, humiliated them once again. So let's watch how bad elongated Muskgrave's popularity once again imploded with no effort as always.
So the other day, we covered a story about how Elon Musk's popularity is collapsing, right? Well, guess what? We have yet another example of Elon Musk's popularity imploding. So
Same
look at
goes
this.
For the
This is in
orangutan.
the Hill. Republicans
and they deserve it.
Influence.
And this means, and according to this thing Kyle's bringing up, Republican support of him has declined massively too. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all shouldn't have supported him in the first place or Trump.
So a new
dumbasses.
Poll. The share of Republicans who say they want tech billionaire Elon Musk to have significant influence in the Trump administration has fallen substantially in the months since President Trump was elected. In the Economist YouGov poll taken in the days after the November 2024 election, 47% of surveyed Republicans said they wanted Musk to have a lot of influence in the Trump administration. So just to point out here real quick, even at his peak, it wasn't even a majority of Republicans who said they want Musk to take a leading role. Okay. While 29% wanted him to have a little influence and 12% wanted him to have none at all. Okay. Today, however,
an oligarch to have
the share of Republicans who say they want Musk to have a lot of influence has fallen substantially to 26%.
A 21%
Meanwhile,
reduction.
43% say they want him to have a little influence, and 17% want him to have none at all. Okay, so
it should be 100%.
Let's repeat that. It was 47% that wanted him to have a lot of influence. Now it's 26% that say they want him to have a lot of influence.
Realizing that
shnikes.
the neo-Nazi from a Nazi terrorist state is probably not, who's also a tech billionaire and is like bizarro Tony Stark.
I think that's why maybe we should deport him back to South Africa. And let's take all his billions of money to
Mars.
And
deport him to Mars.
Yeah, let's not offend South Africa. They don't deserve that miserable POS. And then take all his money to fund Medicare for all for like 10 years. That would be the best thing he's ever done in his life.
What in God? Bro, call that what it is. That is like everybody soured on you super fast, dog.
Because like, you're a moron.
Survey Democrats and
all of you that support him are also morons, which is why we're going to mock you forever for supporting him, dumbasses.
Independents are also showing less desire for Musk to have a prominent influence in the Trump administration.
Yes.
Only also 6%.
The only people that'll support him at this rate are the Republicans in the Parliament and corporate Democrats.
And tech bros.
Each group say they want Musk to have a lot of influence.
Yes.
In November, it was 15% of Democrats said he should have a lot of influence and 26% of independents. Now it collapsed to 6% for independents and 6% for Democrats. Overall, it's only 13% of Americans who want Musk to have a lot of influence. Now remember, guys, this is at the same time that there was one poll that had Elon Musk's favorability rating, his popularity rating overall, at 39%. That was one poll. And then there was a different one, which we covered on the show not that long ago, where his favorability rating is 36%. Ladies and gentlemen.
Which we covered last
Elon
time
Musk,
out.
right now, is about as popular as a half-dead Joe Biden.
Imagine being as hated as Biden.
Yeah.
I wonder
Because
why
you're
that's
But we also
moron.
remember
Could it be
Your
because
brain
we
is
also
like
remember-
Biden. That'll
Yes,
offend you, dipshits.
Yep.
Like Elon,
Yep.
like basic
died. Remember, Biden died 2 years ago. He's just being puppeted by the dark side of the Force.
Like
remember,
basic.
remember what Palpatine said.
Like
remember what Palpatine said. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Just like base Chuckle Wall says, all you do is jump around and skip like a dipshit.
Unhinged, fucking psychomatic person I've ever seen
And
in
that's
my
why
life.
you can't take the 500
Could that
million
be it?
damage.
And by the way, we're gonna do a story on that in a little bit. Literally,
And you're all
made
bad
it.
Pokemon.
Apparently there's another apparently there's a way to do even more damage now in Generation 9.
Yeah. And of course, maybe we should test it on a furry retard.
Mental illness. We're gonna talk about that.
Yes.
He looks like a
Every
poison
day.
and dark
First of all,
type.
he tweets more than Trump. He tweets more than anybody. Like fucking 80 tweets a day, thereabouts. And then when you go through, I look, don't take my word for it. You do it yourself. Take a claim that he makes, which sounds sort of like, I don't know about that. Look it up. Do some research. You will find out very quickly. His Twitter page is a tsunami of horseshit. I guarantee you go.
Yeah, I
look
know
up
because I
specifics,
see him every morning,
and it's
even
like,
though I'm
he
not
totally is
following
misstating
him.
that
I'm tired of
fact.
seeing
What
his
the fuck are you
face.
talking
I'm
about?
gonna
He
make
said
fun
that
of
the head
him.
of USAID makes $23 million over 4 years.
Oh.
You know what they actually make per year? $225,000, which would be about $900,000. Not 23 million. It's just lie.
Imagine believing
Now, the
Elon
other thing
gave
is,
Muskgrave in
people
anything.
are already experiencing hardship
And
and
again, when
annoyance
you're conservative,
directly
you're
because of
stupid.
Elon Musk. I know because I spend most of my time in a town that has a lot of government jobs. And one of the things Trump and Elon did is they said, no more remote work, get your ass back to the office. Well, guess what? If you do that all at once like that, when so many people did their work from home for so long,
multiple hour
now,
delays.
the
So
traffic,
even
you sit in traffic for a fucking hour for what's supposed to be a 10-minute drive to get there. They offered all these
That's
people a
what happened
buyout.
to your Karen.
These people literally have no idea.
Yeah.
Is this legal? Is this not legal?
And
Should I
also
take it? Should I
remember
not take
that
it?
companies are losing money on their property investments if people aren't using them for work.
That's why you don't bother investing in them, you dipshits.
Take it. What does human resources say? What does management say? Oh my God, they don't know. What the fuck are they doing? Some people took the buyout and then they never got back
Illegal
to them and
buyouts too,
gave
I
them
may
further
add.
instructions. Like
As
it is a fucking
As Legal Eagle pointed out
Never
earlier.
mind. We just
Exactly,
discussed this
yeah.
in detail. But Elon is bragging about like deleting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That is literally one of the best government agencies, if not the
And by the way, he has no authority to do that, so that's illegal, and his ass needs to be kicked out.
best government agency we have.
Exactly.
It has returned $20 billion.
Send it back to South Africa. And then South Africa can launch him to Mars.
To Americans who were defrauded by big financial institutions. If there's some bank fraud and the bank's not cooperating with you, right? If you have some sort of issue where you're getting screwed over, you reach out to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Within a week, they solve that shit and they get you your money back. That's what they do. You know how many Americans they've helped? 200 million Americans.
Think about his
CFPB, rest in
feelings.
peace.
He doesn't have feelings. He just has stupidity and Nazism.
All he wants is to sexually assault women by bribing them with horses.
The CFPB is going to see that and go,
That wouldn't
I don't
surprise
agree.
me.
And dead naming his daughter.
In fact,
Yes.
in
And
his own
getting
replies, there were a lot of
offended at the
Musk's
word
fans like, wait a second, I
cisgender.
thought you were going after
And crying about everything.
wasteful-
Oh, and also lying about being a video gamer.
fraud and abuse. This government agency is one of the best we have. It costs they fund it to the tune of like $700 million, but it gets Americans back $20 billion. Like it pays for itself and then some. But the reason why he wants to get rid of it is because they regulate him, just
And
like the
that
NLRB.
offends him, the
who's
Yep,
trying
And he wants to rip off literally
You don't
everyone.
understand. His
Everyone and
agenda
make himself
is
at
the
least a
agenda of the robber
trillionaire.
barons, period. They want
No
low
billionaires
taxes for
tax
them,
people.
deregulation for them, no social
Yes.
safety net for
No,
you,
maybe give
useless corporate welfare.
No, I think maybe allow them to have exactly $1 billion, and then when they go 1 billion and one, at that point above, tax them 100%.
And then 91% marginal tax rate too to add on.
Yes.
So they
Oh,
can
I
have
think
the
Elon-
treasury
I
now.
think Elon would
You
love
can
that.
have, a
He would
last
hate
line of
that.
defense, a last resort support
when
from your
he's
government if
visible,
you
we're
need it,
happy.
vis-a-vis unemployment insurance,
Yeah,
Medicaid,
which is
for your
good.
healthcare.
Always good to see billionaires and wannabe globalists overlords.
The funding
overlords who are jealous of who makes the conspiracies up about the Jews because he's jealous.
Even though he's an anti-Semite himself.
In that position. Oh, well, that goes with being a Nazi, so...
Disabled Americans couldn't get their help, right? Head Start, frozen. Support for school breakfast and lunch for kids, frozen. Home eating assistance, frozen. WIC, nutrition for babies, frozen.
Trying to shut down
Gee, I wonder why he has a fucking 36% approval rating. Gee, I wonder.
Trying to shut down everything.
So many planes have crashed or collided with stuff recently because you all...
How many trains? Probably hundreds, probably numerous trains are derailed as well.
And Trump laid off hundreds of workers and whatever that folk pay attention to nuclear weapons and all that.
He dropped 20 points even among Republicans.
As I said, they're looking to have 100% military, 100% budget on the military. It's because they just want to literally take over the world and kill everyone.
And force
maybe even start work on a Death Star to blow the Earth up.
And of course force women to blow them.
He's going in there Javier Milei style.
And not just women either, considering how low they want to lower the age of consent
/ every program that helps regular people. Well, guess what? That's why Argentina has a 53% poverty rate. 53%. And this is who he looks up to. Because he doesn't give a fuck about
William, if you're watching this, imagine
there's going to be temporary hardship. There's
Javier Milei.
Hardship, but, it is what it is.
Yeah.
53%
a lot of people can't weather temporary economic hardship.
That's your libertarianism for you people.
But he's the fucking richest man in the world, a robber baron, illegally hacking into the treasury and deleting whatever programs he wants and bragging about it, even though that's wildly unconstitutional.
And he just got cock-blocked by judges today.
For him, Jesus Christ, it's done so. But guys, look, I've been predicting for a long time a Trump-Elon split-up. Let me say something very clearly. If they don't split up, if Trump doesn't eventually turn on Elon Musk, Crystal has a theory that she floated, and I think it would prove Crystal's theory. Crystal's theory is, remember when Trump launched his meme coin? 2 days before the inauguration, he did a crypto scam on his own supporters. Now there's the Trump.
And you're all a bunch of fucking morons for falling for it too.
Her theory is you have all of these.
They all are. That's all they are, actually.
And you all deserve to be laughed at.
Listen, dog, we'll keep you out of prison by getting you elected and giving you all the money you need to get elected, and we'll make you as rich as us. But in return for that, you need to basically let us run the federal government, right? And so that's why you have like 40 whales own like 90% of the Trump coin. It could be all these tech bro billionaires are propping up the value of the coin, making Trump way wealthier than he was, right? So they get him elected, they make him as wealthy as they are, and then what? Hey, Elon, run wild, do whatever the fuck you want. You want to illegally hack into the back end of the treasury and slash whatever programs you want? Go right ahead.
Do you want to hack into the public to Social Security and steal all the money in there?
President Musk.
And then hire a bunch of gangs to go around massacring people on welfare?
You're really in charge. You're not in charge.
Especially black people while screaming the answer every 5 seconds?
Take away my dad's disability, my mom's Social Security.
Or can I fire them just to prove to you that they're not in charge?
And then kill you and your whole family because you're considered degenerates?
Right.
Imagine being mad at me for being a base Chad progressive.
Clearly not, because in your own poll, you dropped 20%. Well, it's
because they hate everyone who isn't a Nazi like them, remember?
People are waking up.
If we don't make it dangerous to be a Nazi, they'll make it dangerous to not be a Nazi.
Well, those neo-Nazis that are marching Cincinnati are sure learned their lesson that Mike covered.
Is it too late?
Yes.
They're already trying to defy court orders, bro. Constitutional crisis is not strong enough. This is a coup. They are committing a coup. Hey, y'all, do me a favor. He should be shot
then if he keeps this up. How about that one?
He should be publicly executed upside down.
Because all you rich fucks are evil. How about that one? So yeah, what do you guys say about elongated Muskgrave and Trump too tanking in the polls, which we predicted, but of course shaking my head. Yep, and we're, of course, shaking our heads still at all you supported because you're all a bunch of fucking morons still, and you deserve to be laughed and mocked and shamed forever. Speaking of which, that's what we're going to be doing next. Our next topic.
And that is, Trump bucks over his supporters again. Buffo, fuck around, find out.
Didn't we warn them for the last few years that this would happen? I'm pretty sure we did.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did. We did. Would they listen? No, because they're morons and they are cultists and they love this and they love to be fucked over.
Huh, so they fucking around finding out, you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
And are you ready to laugh at them? So here we go, laugh at stupidity.
I need your help to save my farm and many other farms. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act.
Who did those executive orders?
They're not able to pay out on the stuff that completed.
Because of course he did.
And who did you vote for, pal? Oh, it's right, the orangutan.
Yes.
That was Skylar Holden of Cattleman Family Farms, and he went viral on TikTok after pleading with his followers to call their senators and representatives on his behalf in an effort to save his family farm. Now, a lot of folks weren't very sympathetic towards him after he made it clear.
I wonder why we're not sympathetic.
That he voted for Donald Trump, who is the president that enacted the federal funding freeze that fucked him over in the first place. So a lot of people basically responded by saying, fuck around, find out. But before we talk about his response to those people, he did explain in more detail why this move specifically threatens his farm.
The issue I have is I've already done a bunch of the work, already paid for the material, already paid for the labor, so I'm out all that cost, and I use my farm operating expenses in order to do those projects, because per contract, I knew that I was going to get cost sharing refunds on the stuff once completed, but now that it's completed, they're saying that they're unable to provide the funds because of the freeze on the Inflation Reduction Act funds. You know, Trump's in office, and they've got that DOGE program, the Department of Government Efficiency.
Real, it's a scam.
They're trying to cut out all the ways of spending in the government, which I'm all for.
And also remember the dog referring to the dog from that meme died last May, so like 16.
And thank you for...
It was around a long, long time and only died recently.
Oh, and thank you for the obligatory reminder. Trump is senile, brain dead, and old, so he can't be president anymore. Yeah, you did it to Biden people. Now we're going to do it right back to you and see how it feels for you when all of a sudden you defend a senile old man. How about that one?
It's a signed contract. It's a legally binding contract. They're not backing out on it. They're not paying out on it. So it puts me in a bind because I've made business decisions based on that contract.
And therein lies the problem. If he doesn't get that money, then he's on the hook for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And other farmers are in the same boat. So this is an actual existential threat to farmers across the country. But as you saw,
hurry up and go out of business already, you morons.
Government waste. And I do want to address that first before we get to anything else, because that's just not true. And a lot of people actually think that this is what's happening, not just him. First and foremost, claims about government contracts to Politico or funding for condoms in Gaza are either widely misrepresented.
Imagine believing that $50 million went to condoms in Gaza. How much of a moron do you have to be?
It's not outright false. They do? And there are probably instances where spending is wasted. I'm willing to admit that.
What use would condoms have when you're being genocided?
You're a libtard. Shut up.
But Elon Musk specifically is targeting agencies that are regulatory threats to his companies. Right? He's not trying to figure out how to save taxpayers' money. He's trying to figure out how to save himself money. And Crystal Ball laid this out in a brilliant TikTok.
Imagine being dumber than AI and Vicky, too. Oof.
He's trying to position Kerr as an everything app. He just signed a deal with Visa that would allow it to be a payment processor, and as a payment processor was about to be regulated by the CFPB. Well, that agency has now been gutted. They've announced they're doing no more enforcement, no more rulemaking. Everything is on hold, and guess what? Now, those payment processors not going to be regulated by the CFPB, but that is far from all. Of course, Elon has taken aim at the USAID. They're effectively gutted at this point. Just so happens they were investigating Starlink. Of course, just another Elon product.
Look at that. All going after Elongated Musgrave, and that's why he's trying to take him down because he was offended.
National Relations Board. So they've gone after Elon
because
for all sorts of
their existence offends him.
Workers' ability to
and he's a
organize,
snowflake.
Make decisions when there's a dispute.
Yep, he's the snowflakiest snowflake that ever snowflaked.
Elon is a famous
sucks
union
at video
buster,
games.
strike buster.
He sucks at life, except for
he
drifting.
sued them, claiming
he sucks at trying to get fucked. He has to bribe women with horses.
Constitution trying to dismantle the whole thing. Well, now the National Labor Relations Board has been gutted, and they're not even defending themselves in that lawsuit. That
he wouldn't even know how to make a dirt block house in Minecraft.
He wouldn't even know how to open Minecraft.
Elon has taken aim at. Well,
you think he'd be smart in AI and Vicky too?
Illegal rocket launches
no.
At SpaceX, Department of Labor.
He'd just pay someone else to beat the game for him and then take all the credit.
What if he's against me, though?
Use of the N-word in the workplace. Nooses were somehow involved. Well, lo and behold,
there might be someone who could hold their own against you, maybe.
Contract compliance
I've been banned from playing several countries on several servers because I've been too good as them.
Signed an executive order completely dismantling the whole thing, so guess he's off the hook for that as well.
And that's what this is about.
It's so
these
nice
stories about money being
spent
on ostensibly unnecessary research or woke grants is a red herring. I mean, if you look at some of the things that they're cutting aid to people who need it. Life-saving aid.
500 million pounds of food recently got wasted because of this. Fuck you, Trump and Elongated Musgrave. Imagine wasting food.
For cancer research.
Oh yeah, cotton cancer research because let's be evil as hell.
And they're doing this to make it seem as if they're being productive when in actuality, Elon Musk
for the military, which they're
trying to fuck all of us over
so they can
to benefit his companies. I mean,
do more war. They can make more money because they're funded by the military-industrial complex.
Let's finish off the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War they want to do.
When he says that, we found this dumb thing, he's lying most of the time, but what he's doing is trying to distract you from the real goal, which is to hollow out government agencies that threaten his bottom line. He's doing it for him, not for us. So I need people to understand that. Furthermore, he doesn't have the authority to veto funding for programs that Congress already appropriated money for.
Exactly.
So what we're seeing here is peak corruption, and if you're wondering whether or not all of this sounds like a conflict of interest, you'd be correct. But don't worry, because the White House is leaving it up to Elon Musk to police his own conflicts of interest.
Oh, yes, of course.
Just great. I'm sure that the world's richest man, who also happens to be a Nazi and a ketamine addict, isn't going to behave in a self-serving way. Now, I wanted to respond to that first because Elon Musk is conducting this audit for himself, not in the name of altruism, and it's getting to me that so many people, just regular people, actually think that this is good. They don't understand how bad it is. It's bullshit. But I do want to get back to the farmer because people asked him why he voted for Donald Trump, knowing that he could be targeted as a beneficiary of the Inflation Reduction Act, since Donald Trump pledged to undo everything that the Biden administration did. Now, as you're going to see, when he was asked these questions, he did get pretty defensive at first.
I'm trying to hear your perspectives, and every time I do, and every time I try to engage on it, you guys push me away. You guys ask me, why did you vote for Trump, or how did you come to the conclusion to vote for Trump? So I explained to you what I do. I got on that quiz online, I punched in the information, and it spits out the best candidate that fits my views. And I ask you guys...
Sounds like the political compass test and all that we used to do all the time on the show.
I remember those. I remember those, yep.
Okay, pal. Maybe your values are wrong. How about that one? Maybe you believe things are just bad, and you should stop believing them.
Exactly, yes.
Guys, to do the same thing, so that way to see if it lines up with your views, to kind of fact check what I'm looking at, to see if that's something that's not biased. And you guys are telling me, well, it didn't work out for you, so I'm not going to do it. It's like, I'm trying to fact check.
I mean, we've done before, and we're going to be getting left-wing candidates unlike you.
I'm trying to listen to you guys, but you guys are pushing me away, and that's what's wrong.
The reason we're pushing away is because you're let's just be as nice as possible, a moron. Like, anyone that supports Trump, you're just a moron. I'm sorry. We're not going to be nice and bad. You're just wrong. He was a horrible president, denied the election results when he lost, caused January 6th, got rid of Roe v. Wade, which hurt Republicans in the 2022 midterm, so thank you in that regard. He had like 34 indictments, a felon, all that. He's just an evil man. You don't support him. End of discussion. When he does the shit he did, you need to act like how South Korea did when their president tried to do his coup in December.
Them, arrest them, charge them, then jail them, and and if it's bad enough, maybe execute them.
Yeah, you instant drop him. But you don't, because you guys are fucking morons that care about your idiot first and your party first over the country. Like smart progressives only care about.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people that are wanting to listen to you right now. Here's an opportunity for the people who are opening their eyes. They're trying to listen to you, but you're saying it's too late, and you don't want to have the conversations now.
Oh, if you want to change, all right. Stop voting for Republicans. That's a good start.
Exactly.
Don't ever vote for him again.
So this feels like a cop-out.
And since apparently this is too hard for people, after freaking 4 years ago with Trump, when Republicans come in and when they fuck everything up and then when we vote them out, you need to be like me. You need to permanently never vote for him again. I remember how bad Bush was. You know how, as a kid, you know what I did? I decided as a teen I would never vote for Republicans ever. So do that yourself. Don't ever vote for Republicans ever.
I actually never ever voted for the Libs. I think the first one I voted for was I think I maybe voted for Labour on the. No, I actually did vote for the Greens. Yeah, no, I put Greens on top for all of them. Then again, I've got ranked choice voting, so I can do that. And I always put Labour ahead of the Libs.
Obama, Stein, Hawkins, and then Harris. Not a single Republican ever voted in my life, and I'm going to intend to keep it that way because I have convictions, unlike you Republicans, because you're fucking morons, and you deserve to be laughed at.
To me, I'll be honest. I mean, sure, the quiz you took, I have recommended that you vote for Trump based on certain policies.
Greens. The highest the Libs got on my ballot was third, and that was because we had the Christian Catholic Conservative Family First, Family Last Party. We had Pauline Hanson's White Nation Party. And finally we had basically the Nazis in Rise Up Australia. Running to the House in fourth, and they were in that order 4, 5, and 6. I'm like, okay. Regular old Christian Conservatives, then White Nationalists, and the Nazis last.
I think we need to beat them in their heads. What happens if fascism come around again? Do they need to remember what happened with Japan in World War II when they messed with both of us?
Yes. I need to remember that.
I wonder if all of a sudden they'll be like, we don't like those J words, but they're Nazis, so maybe we'll support them taking us over.
See preferences that you plugged in, but you're an adult. You have agency over your own actions at the end of the day. If you did not know that Trump incited an insurrection in 2020 and had...
how are you all so stupid to already forget about January 6th? That should have been an instant disqualification, for God's sake. How do any of you not remember how bad Bush was, for crying out? I remember all the stuff he did just like that.
Plans to dismantle checks and balances, things the quiz didn't probably ask you about. I don't know what to say. It's still your fault, right? The quiz didn't force you to vote for Donald Trump, and if you didn't feel like you were informed enough before you casted your vote, you should have not voted, okay? And that's why people are struggling to sympathize with you, because you voted affirmatively for a man that ran on mass deportation, which is a policy that would destroy millions of lives. But now that his policies could destroy your life, well, now you're taking the time to inform yourself and do a little bit of research and be introspective. Why couldn't you do it from the very start like we did? It's just frustrating for people.
This is the problem us on the left have with you dipshit conservatives.
I think that
we told you all this for years. For years. Your policies suck. Don't ever support them. But you still smugly and condescendingly support them, and then you fuck around, find out, and then have your leopards eat your face.
He's expressing
that would happen.
A broader
when we tell you something, when we tell you something,
we mentioned everything. We told you all that was going to happen.
When we tell you this stuff, you shut up and you listen and you instantly do what we say. End of discussion.
Mentality.
We're right.
So you're wrong. Have. They just literally do not give a shit about anyone but themselves, because from a young age we're taught that it's virtuous to be greedy and that capitalism isn't just good. It's the only legitimate system ever devised by humankind, and our media also reinforces this idea that we're the center of the universe. But that's not how it works. We share a country with hundreds of millions of people on a planet with billions of people that's orbiting around a random star in some random ass galaxy. We're
doesn't matter. They can smell and feel you.
The world
and will still
does
punch
not
you into the next dimension.
Careful. Smell and feel us? They'll probably love the worm because he sounds like a degenerate.
Revolve around us. So we have to start caring about other people, please? Even if we're never going to meet them. Because we all have the same experience on this rock, and we're only here for a very short period of time, and then we're gone forever like that. So we need to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to make sure that other people aren't suffering for the entirety of their short existence. Unfortunately, so many people don't come to that realization until they're forced
in hardcore nether.
And then they'll be like, "Oh no, don't put us in the end full of N-words."
Grapple with the consequences of their own actions and think, "Wow, if I don't like this,
not the
maybe
N-word
others
dragon.
Don't like this
no."
It's really frustrating. With that being said,
and those ugly
you're listening
black
to people,
obsidian
and I think that's
blocks.
good. I'll take it. Better late than never, right? And the good news is that Skylar, he does seem to have an open mind after initially being defensive. Because, he talked to some people, and he explained that he talked to people, and now his mind has been opened, and he's listening.
The biggest question for me is, would you still be open if you weren't affected? Because that's why I vote the way I do, not to self-preserve, but for the greater good of everyone. A couple hours ago, I had a journalist from the New York Times that I had recently done an interview with reach out to me and let me know that there was a federal court that deemed the executive orders that Trump signed freezing the IRA funds was unlawful, and they would have to unfreeze those funds. So right now, I'm no longer affected, but I'm still here and I'm still listening to you guys.
I wouldn't be too sure about that, pal. You better be careful.
All of your guys' stories.
You can't trust Trump on anything.
But I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't have had these conversations if it wouldn't have affected me. It just wouldn't have happened, and that's wrong. But
okay, good that you finally seem to have turned a leaf, but our problem is, why couldn't you see that from the very start like we did? Why? Why were you so, ignorant on this? What is it with you people? You don't think about this unless it affects you personally. Why can't it just be you just know it from the start like we do?
This is eye-opening to me.
Because they're propagandized by the media that's all in on Donald Trump.
And also, of course, because they don't think about others. They're hardcore
because
individualists.
They're stupid.
Take advantage of the opportunity.
You need
to
think about others too,
people. There's a lot of
people
that are
not
willing
just
to listen
you.
to you now. As long as we have these engaged conversations where we're actively listening, we're actively talking to each other, we're hearing both sides of what's going on. This is where change happens. I have had many conversations in my messages with people of all diverse backgrounds that belong to the LGBTQ community. That's a group that I've never listened to before because it didn't affect me. I'm hearing their stories.
Why?
I'm hearing
their
perspectives on what's going on.
Because he was a psychopath for a long. Because he was a psychopath, and now he's real. And now he's getting the fat boy.
A lot of people's eyes are open because they got affected by this, and I hope everybody engages and hope everybody has.
Like I said before, the reason why I'm progressive because I didn't like Christian fundamentalists and conservative dipshits back when I was a teen trying to ban gay rights and all that. That doesn't apply to me because I'm straight. But it still offended me because I didn't like seeing people suffering for no reason whatsoever. And that's why I am an atheist and a progressive. Because of you conservative Christian fundamentalists dipshits.
With me.
Because we have empathy for the LGBT community, unlike you dipshits.
Hey, kudos to him for being open and honest about that and actually listening to people who are criticizing him, because it's easy to get defensive, especially when you're experiencing a crisis. So I'm happy to see him have an open mind. Now, the bad news for Skylar is that he may not be out of the woods yet because a federal judge ruled that the Trump administration isn't complying with orders to unfreeze federal grants, and they're currently appealing the ruling in court, so they want to freeze grants again. And on top of that, Trump, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, Elon Musk, they've all made it clear that if they want to, they could just ignore the courts. And the courts
that's because they want to be dictators.
So if they actually choose to do that,
Jackson gave them
there's
the idea
nothing that
back in
we
the
can do.
1840s.
Trump can technically choose to just not comply.
That he did.
And
which, funny enough, that was Trump's favorite president. Imagine like an idiot.
There would be no way to penalize him for that.
Imagine liking the person whom inspired Hitler.
Imagine liking someone who did the Trail of Tears.
Absolute immunity. And at that point in time, we're all just kind of up shit creek without a paddle, and he is the government, right? So the courts might not actually be able to save us from Trump, because he's an authoritarian who wants to eliminate all checks and balances, which is another reason why so many of us feared what would happen if he got elected again. But having said that, again, I appreciate Skylar's open-mindedness. We recently talked about a woman named Myra Aluna on the show who also felt betrayed by Donald Trump after voting for him and then learning that her grandfather was at risk of deportation. And like Skylar, she was also defensive initially, but eventually came around. And hey, I'm all for this, right? I think that we should welcome people that change their minds and support restorative justice. And I think that the left and liberals should be open to people like Skylar and Myra after they express a genuine change of heart. But logistically speaking, this isn't going to result in widespread change. Because there's just not enough Trump supporters who are changing their minds. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to change as many minds as possible.
You still enabled the dictatorship.
And more importantly, we still got Trump to deal with. So until he's gone, we're still going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear that the overwhelming majority of Trump supporters still have not abandoned him. So I don't want to give you the impression that these instances of voters abandoning Trump is representative of like the broader MAGA movement, because that's just not true. Some of them will never abandon him. But it is important to try to instill class consciousness in the ones that do. And even though those numbers are still small at this point, you know, it's still significant that so many people, just a couple of weeks into his administration, are saying they don't like what he's doing, right? These people do exist. And some are turning on MAGA in a major, major way. For example, Reddit user BBB Step posted screenshots of this 3-time Trump supporter's tweets to the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit. And as you're going to see, this...
3-time? Yeah, you're still getting rounded up at the end.
Again. You voted for the moron 3 times. I really don't have many sympathy for you. I'm sorry. I can't.
The individual is not very happy with Donald Trump, and she's taken her dislike of him to an extreme. She says, "Real Donald Trump, I voted for you 3 times and donated numerous times as they hauled you into court. But if you fucking think you will use American taxpayer money to rebuild Gaza, you are as insane as they say you are. I will fight as hard against you as I did for you. You have lost your fucking mind, pal." And she goes on to say, "I will understand why someone takes you out." So she went from being a 3-time Trump supporter
I wouldn't be surprised either.
to wanting him to die.
Yeah.
Because she's that mad at the prospect of her taxpayer money being spent on Gaza. She didn't have a problem, apparently, when Congress sent Israel money to bomb the people of Gaza, but the prospect of us righting the wrong and rebuilding what we destroyed is just too much for her to bear. And to be clear, Trump isn't trying to develop Gaza for altruistic reasons or for the people of Gaza.
He's trying
to annex Gaza.
He's trying to colonialize it,
which will be
ethnically cleanse, and then...
So his son-in-law can set up beachfront condos
the place where he and Joe Biden can live out the rest of their lives.
Is to permanently displace the people of Gaza. So fortunately for this person,
hopefully they die.
The people of Gaza aren't going to benefit from.
Sorry, pal, you use your last totem on my
congratulations, I guess. I hope that makes you feel better. But clearly, this person is so far removed from reality that even though they're abandoning Donald Trump, they still probably can't be reasoned with. But there is more. So Reddit user I'm Questionable shared a post from a woman who voted for Donald Trump knowing that Project 2025 was a possibility, but I guess she didn't expect him to actually do it and voted for him anyways. And after his first week in office,
exactly.
That was enough for her to want to flee the United States because she's afraid of how Project 2025 is going to affect her personally. And I mean, it's a tale as old as time, right? You vote for Donald Trump thinking that he's only going to fuck over everyone else, marginalized groups that
loves fucking everyone over.
Once you realize he's going to fuck you over too, well then that's when the regret sets in. And a lot of Trump voters who likely voted for him for the purpose of economic anxiety, they're also starting to figure out that, it seems like he's not actually interested in bringing down the cost of groceries like he said he would on the campaign trail. The Daily Beast reports early polling data from Trump's first days in office showed that the speed of the president's executive orders concerned about half the country. Among those feeling anxiety are the president's own voters. Quote, "I don't like the turbulence," Trump voter Paul Bisson told the Wall Street Journal. "I don't like the chaos in the market." Bisson, 58, creates proposals for a flight safety company and co-owns a dog daycare in San Antonio, Texas. Bisson says he wants to retire soon, but worries Trump's policies will make the economy worse. He continued, "That's not what we signed up for."
You deserve it, bitch.
Yeah, pal. That you did sign for it. You vote for him. You support every one of this. So shut the fuck up.
So sorry, Mr. Bisson. I totally understand. You voted for Donald Trump because you wanted him to fuck over immigrants, not you.
We warned you. You should have listened to us because we're right and you're
getting
always
fucked
wrong.
over. That's the way the world works, I guess, right? Now, others are coming to the same realization as well.
Learn to be
and there's a lot of people
like
posting under the hashtag Leaving MAGA on TikTok. And one account actually put together a compilation of people that are just genuinely distraught by the fact that they voted for this man for various reasons. And I just want to play that for you just to show you that, like, this isn't necessarily a case where there's only isolated incidents. I mean, the numbers are small still, but people have very quickly come to regret their decisions, as you're going to see.
Because you're all moron.
Dumbass voted for Trump.
Because they're all
is the worst decision I ever made.
I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. A lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep.
You should have seen the light sooner, dumb
I feel
bitch.
guilty because I voted for Trump twice.
Stupid.
I feel very guilty because I feel responsible. That's why he's still running.
I was with Trump for 9 straight years. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Trump right now. I'm no longer rocking with Trump.
I used to be a MAGA Republican, and now I've turned blue. And it makes me emotional to know that I ever fucking stood by idly and blind and let that shit happen.
I have a funny feeling when 2028 comes around, you're gonna be like, I said I was gonna be blue. I don't think I'm going to anymore. I just don't trust you.
I have been a Trump supporter, and I can no longer say that I am MAGA. And
because you're black, they're gonna hate you for it.
I voted for Trump.
Yep. They want to put you in concentration camps. They want to put you in gas chambers.
Again, this is in no way representative of the broader MAGA base, but it's still good to see that some people are at least starting to see the light. And I'm not going to shit on people for admitting that they're wrong, because
I will.
It's a very hard thing to do, especially on the internet. Trust me, I know.
Because we're not nice about it.
It's okay for us to be frustrated with people whose decisions affect us.
Frustration is a massive understatement.
And if they're going to ask for forgiveness, they have to understand where people are coming from who are saying, well, you kind of fucked around and found out, right? But I still think that we should give them I think that we should try to explain to them.
When we tell you something, you shut the fuck up and you listen.
Neither are trans people, as Laverne Cox put it. You're focusing on the wrong 1%.
And now you're in there and you deserve it.
But the common enemy,
for people who
and we have to explain this to them, is the guy who's rewiring government agencies as we speak to the benefit of his companies and other billionaires. So it has to be explained, even though it's common sense to you and me. This is
we shouldn't have to explain it. It should have been very obvious, you moron.
We have to connect the dots. I think most Americans know that money in politics and corruption is a problem, and that billionaires are a problem, and income and wealth inequality is a problem. But you have to make it explicit for them. You have to connect the dots, because if they don't have a clear and vivid understanding of what's being done, how they're being robbed, then they're just going to be easily distracted by red herrings or by divisive white identity politics. Having said that, there are people who should know better. Not all of them are misguided MAGA supporters with economic anxiety who just didn't know how bad it would be. Like, some of them actually understand what they got themselves into when they voted. For example, there's Malik Abdul, who is a Republican strategist and also a member of the Black Americans for Trump coalition, and on CNN in the second week of Trump's term. Even he admitted that it's really hard to defend Donald Trump as a GOP strategist and a Republican, because the economic promises that they thought Trump made.
So how many of your own group have you murdered so far, you fucking traitor?
I can't remember if it was this video or another video from Mike or Kyle's, but they actually talked to Muslims that supported Trump because he was somehow better on Gaza and all that. And oh boy, they had to eat so much crow recently now.
Scared by his overt racism and
again, thank you, dumb leftists.
Donald Trump appealing to these people in his second week when we're not talking about the economy. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about DEI, and he had no
How dare you associate with
liberals?
liberals?
Are out there defending it.
No, these guys are CIA agents.
I want Donald Trump to know you are making it hard for us.
Even more, they'd have a fucking stroke right out of rage.
Social media influence.
I say that.
Supporting Donald Trump or any politician. We want to support you because we believe in what you're doing. And when you get out here and do this stuff around DEI, knowing that this support that he's gotten from black people, this uptick, it's not permanent. Meaning that you're going to
I don't see how you can support support him. I have to be honest. I don't see how you can make excuses.
Thank you. How can anyone who be a minority support that dipshit Trump? There's nothing redeemable about it.
You know that, right? Like, this is not like a show. This is actually who Donald Trump is. It's part of the
technology terms called this is a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. And I think that Malik believes that he can somehow convince Donald Trump to not be racist by appealing to the sheer politics of it all, like the campaign promises, or his desire to be popular. But Trump doesn't give a shit, and that's what so many people don't realize. He does not give a shit. He won the election, and now he can do whatever he wants, and he is doing whatever he wants. And unfortunately, what he wants to do is be extremely racist. He just signed an executive order to allow South African immigrants to move to the country if they're of European descent, if they're white. I mean, he's just not even trying to hide it. And that's, I think part of Elon Musk's influence.
Yeah, bring in white South African farmers who are accused, who claim to be oppressed and all that, but fuck over every other minority group that wants to come in for the exact same reasons.
Because
hell,
but also remember that South Africa was basically a Nazi terrorist organization, so...
But Republicans liked it back then, remember?
I love that, yeah.
We wish apartheid's back. Thankfully, we got Israel for that.
Who is a Nazi, who also thinks that there's a white genocide against the white people in South Africa after they had an apartheid regime. But, I mean, it's not like Trump even made that sound of economic arguments in the first place. I think a lot of this election kind of boiled down to Americans just not feeling stable economically, so they voted against the incumbents. But at the end of the day, Trump, his economic arguments were basically,
when you see Trump, after what he did before, you instantly vote against him no matter what. End of debate.
Exactly.
Tax on tips, which isn't...
Trump is such a fucking deranged, dangerous moron that he forced me to go back to voting for Democrats for the first time since Obama. That's how extreme he's gotten.
Actually a good policy for workers.
And I'm in a deep blue state where it doesn't matter. That's how extreme he's gotten.
Blame immigrants and DEI for all of your economic woes. I mean, that's not necessarily the most sound economic argument, and that's when he was talking about economics or inflation at all. Like other times, he was pantomiming dick sucking and talking about Arnold Palmer's penis size. Like this is not a serious candidate. So like I feel like this substance, insane washing that so many people ascribe to Trump,
he's more
it's
evil
just not
than
there.
Some pervert
you projected sanity onto a man that is completely mentally unstable.
Yep. At least they're funny when they get beaten up.
What Malik is expressing is, I think, cognitive dissonance, like other former Trump supporters who knew that it would be bad, but they were just crossing their fingers and hoping that it wouldn't be as bad as they thought, or they hoped that they wouldn't be affected by Trump's fucked up policies, that he wouldn't come for them. But I mean, someone like Malik, who is literally a Republican strategist, they know better. And he's not going to be persuaded by us. So the reason why I bring up Malik is because we have to try to figure out who's gettable and who's too far gone, or whether or not they have a financial interest in supporting Donald Trump. Either way, we have to do what we can to win over the people that are winnable to the extent that we can, and that means we have to know
get
when
rid
to
of
cut our
the ones
losses and give up on certain folks. Because a sad fact of reality is that millions of Americans are just too far gone. They're never going to come back to reality, and they are living in an alternate world than the rest of us. Empirical reality has no bearing on their beliefs. But the bleak truth is that it might be too late. Like, I talk a lot about trying to awaken class consciousness, but undoing this level of brainwashing is going to be a multi-generational project. And quite frankly, we don't have the time for that. The planet can't wait that long. And assuming that we're able to make progress and actually awaken a newfound class consciousness among millions of people, the capitalist class is going to find new ways to dupe them, new means of propaganda to get them to hate their peers in the working class again. So, I mean, we're talking about truly a Sisyphusian task here, because we basically have to change American culture to really target that inherent selfishness of the American people.
And the thing is
with that being said, even though it feels utterly hopeless, we still have to try.
Get rid of them all.
Oh, man. I wonder how they feel if they ever saw Bernie around them.
They'd be using every fucking anti-Jewish slur in the book.
You think they'd be as scared as they should be of the warden?
Officially lose when we give up.
Hey, in this regard, Bernie would be warden.
I don't think we should give up, even though it looks bad. So, we've just got to do what we can to change hearts and minds. One person at a time. So, good luck, everyone, with that.
And then he'll roar at you and one-shot you. So, yeah. What do you guys say about Trumpsters fucking around and find out, once again, as always?
They deserve it.
And
they deserve it. And then we're going to start the century-long process of brainwashing by properly funding education, actually valuing science, reason, logic, and that, and getting religion out of school, out of everything, and giving them to their own little little communities and their own little
and
the big thing from my end, I volunteer at a church. I volunteer at a community lunch.
You sound like
the most religious that we get is that one time a year there'd be you have 1 month a year you'd have Christmas carols, and some of them have religious themes, but that's it.
You sound like Ayaka in My Blossom in Summer, sir. How's it feel being just like the Christian fundamentalist progressive like she is?
That's fun.
And also, they need to have discipline beaten into them by starting off by mining for diamonds in Minecraft.
Yep.
And they're gonna have to mine they're got to mine with wooden pickaxes to start off with too. Enjoy all that work. Hope you enjoy slowly going for deep slate. Alright, so now on to the next topic.
Having to go back constantly because wood only I think wood only lasts 50 uses or something.
50 blocks.
Yep. See, no, old man Trump tariffs Canada and Mexico and plans to tariff the entire planet on metal, with the possible exception of Australia, which would be good. But still, it's beyond stupid.
He'll probably make some excuse that because you're all white or something, remember?
Albo's been pushing the fact that we have a trade surplus with them as ground for it.
So, anyways, Trump did threatened more to do his dipshit tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. It was 10% on China, which actually did go through recently. Yep. And Mexico and Canada, he was going to do it, but then he backtracked because Canada and Mexico caved into their demands in his quotes, when in reality they were just going to do what they said they were going to do beforehand, but he acted like a moron about it. But of course, he pissed off Canadians to no one's surprise and all that, and he riled up Canadian nationalism, which made Republicans and conservatives violently angry. Also made Canadian conservatives mad because they want to be imperialized.
Yeah.
Imagine.
They love. Oh, actually, that reminds me of something. Just a quick aside. What do you think of the phrase Nazism is colonialism turned inward?
I mean, it doesn't sound that far off. But yeah, imagine being a Canadian conservative defending about to be taken over by America. How dumb do you have to be when you're better off than America, pal? What a dumbass. So yeah, he riled up Canadian nationalism, and he is fucking mad about it. And he can cry more, so let's watch Canadians humiliate Trump as always.
I'm at one of Canada's grocery stores. Americans lean in a little. You see these? These are new. They're everywhere now. Oh, and by the way, you notice something else about them? Do you see something else about them? Maybe I'll back up. Would this help if I back up? All the Canadian products are at eye level now. That didn't used to be. You want to know where the American products are? They're down here at the bottom. You want to know why they're at the bottom? Because they're not selling. You know why they're not selling? Because we're not buying them. This is happening everywhere.
I originally had one of
that's
these
smart-based
in my
protectionism.
Cart,
Buy locally.
Yep.
So I came back.
So smart
and look what's on
Canadians.
sale. And it's grown in
Maybe
Canada.
the rest of the world should be like that.
Into the cart you go. And we got some bananas from Costa Rica and delicious strawberries from Mexico. And we love you, Mexico and Costa Rica. And
just like us progressives love Canada, Mexico, and Costa Rica.
Exactly.
You may find this hard to believe, but those Canadians
of course will be
this
called
TikTok.
called Hamas fighters for saying that.
And they didn't even post follow-up saying that they're sorry, which goes to show you how
dicks.
mad they
Release
are.
film,
And you know that you messed up when you piss off Canadians.
Don't forget
the nicest people on the planet.
Canada had said we're going to do. Canada and Mexico have said we'll do revenge tariffs if you tariff us.
No, they're going to bomb the Baldwins like in South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut, remember?
That's exactly what Donald Trump has done. And as you can see by this morning consult poll, the opinion of the United States among Canadians has soured a lot.
And then conservatives will be like, you Canadians are all the same with your beady little eyes and flapping heads.
Election. And it's getting even worse as Trump continues to antagonize
them
are
all the same with your guns, no reason whatsoever. Guns and
as my Canadian leftist mafia co-host David Gill points out, speaking from experience, this is completely accurate. Regardless of people's politics, unless you're a real Maple MAGA freak, Canadians have become more positive about Canada and more negative towards the United States. And what Trump doesn't realize is that this could have actual severe consequences, economically speaking, since the movement to boycott American products in Canada is only growing.
With the looming threat of U.S. tariffs, Canadians are being encouraged and feeling empowered to shop local and purchase Canadian-made goods.
Obviously,
that's what base protectors should all be, by local people.
And this just adds to the importance
so based Canadians.
Yeah, I'm definitely supporting Canada, not going to Costco, no Amazon.
Fighting back against the bullying Nazi Americans.
Supporting our local economy, supporting things that are made here.
We have definitely noticed in this past week, even Canadians putting their money where their mouth is.
Brown's clothing
and also,
company,
imagine not being
Canada,
base
which
protectors
prides
like
itself
Brain
on
Dead
being
Biden.
one of the only brands in the world that
that would
every
make
one
them
of
even
its products
more
in Canada has seen a surge in support.
And that business owner went on to say that their hope is that this boycott is going to lead to Canadian-made products becoming more prominent over time and American-made products becoming less prominent over time, which is very bad news for American companies that sell their products in Canada.
And Mexicans
but Canadians aren't just boycotting American products; they're also choosing to just not come to America anymore.
That'll be a fun little thing.
That's how angry they are.
That might actually benefit Australia.
Of course, Trump doing this also helps China, which is not based.
Rita Murillo of the Travel Regs, the U.S. Travel Association has warned that the U.S. government's move to impose
which is why I float the bold claim, as I've been doing for months, that the Republicans and Trump are pro-Russia and pro-China.
Tariffs against neighboring countries will lead to an...
Whenever they talk about Beijing Biden... It's actually Beijing Trump and Beijing Republicans. And don't forget Moscow Mitch, Putin's little bitch.
And don't forget elongated Musgrave.
An economic tourism disaster for the United States after thousands of Canadian travelers canceled their trips immediately following the president's announcement. And the U.S. Travel Association isn't wrong here. In fact, Forbes estimates that a Canadian travel boycott could cost the U.S. billions of dollars, and they report even a 10% reduction in Canadian inbound travel could translate to 2 million fewer visits, which would mean $2.1 billion in lost spending and 140,000 jobs jeopardized in the hospitality and related sectors, according to USTA projections. And this would predominantly affect people in states like California, Texas, and Florida, where Canadians tend to visit often during the winter to escape the cold. But CBC
Why would anyone want to escape the cold? Cold is for men, and cold is awesome. Except you, unmanly man down there, who can't handle it.
Woman who's been coming to Florida for around 8 years over the winters.
The killer for me is the wind. Is wind.
Man,
wind is the part I hate.
Man, you would love that one night I told you it was like 8 degrees outside and it was like 5 inches of snow.
Saying that.
You think you can handle that, mister?
I live in Australia. The answer is I'm not sure.
You've probably never seen it that cold in your life.
No, not in my land.
And what if I
not 8 degrees Fahrenheit?
What was the coldest you ever felt?
Hang on.
Because what if I told you 8 degrees, not even the coldest I've ever experienced?
I think where I live has gotten to like 0. But that's about it. I think we might have like for 10 minutes gone to like -0.2, but that's about it.
Let me tell you the time in January 2009 when we had an ice storm for a week and the average high during that week was -5.
Oh, wow.
You gotta see about that one. You think you can handle that, mister?
No.
Not built like us hardy Americans, huh?
Yeah, but most of you Americans would melt on a 40-degree day.
Not me. I can handle both directions, unlike my parents.
At that point, because I'm looking at your pictures and you look like you're loving it down there in the sunshine. Look at that. You're on the Gulf Coast.
Why would any base Canadian want to go down to Florida? Florida sucks compared to Canada. There's nothing good down there.
Have said, well,
come to Maryland, we have better stuff. And we have your winter too, which is based.
And they really think this is the only place.
You got beautiful coastline to look at. You got a beautiful flag to look at, fellow progressives, and we have the best bitches.
And who could blame her? That arrogance right there from Trump supporters is something that we've all experienced as Americans. So many of us
I know
think that the
firsthand.
world
I'm
revolves
surrounded
around
by
this
those
country,
morons.
and there's just no getting through to people that think that way. You're better off having a conversation with a brick fucking wall because you will never get anywhere with a Trump supporter. It's done
Careful, Mike. Don't offend the brick wall
and
now.
In another portion of that interview, the lady commented on the sheer stupidity of Trump supporters. And this isn't really related, but I just had to play it because I feel like she is speaking to what we're all seeing here.
They believe everything Trump says.
Because
there's
they're
no
morons.
reasoning with them.
Because they're evil and they worship the devil.
They don't have
and they're
facts.
jealous of
They're
us blue
just
staters.
mimiking what Trump is saying.
Yeah.
Even though they
it's a stretch to say that sentiment is shared around the world. When people come to America,
they're jealous we're
they
rich.
realize how rude we are, how stupid many of us are, and when we travel abroad, well,
hey,
you know, if you're one of the good Americans, you tell them that they're Canadian, so that way they don't automatically think you're a shitty, dumb person.
And we're the real alpha males.
Something that I think Americans.
Speaking of alpha males, just wait till we get to the beta male one. Oh boy, they're gonna be mad about that one.
In terms with the fact that the perception that we have around the globe is very, very negative, and we are doing nothing to change it. In fact, we're trying to make it worse because we just don't care and have no self-awareness collectively. But putting that aside, I genuinely feel bad for Canadians. I mean, I get that they have free healthcare and we don't, but still I feel bad for them because of the chaos that we're causing in their country. They have their own Maple MAGA movement because of Donald Trump. A lot of our conspiracy theories, including QAnon, have seeped into Canadian culture, and now they apparently have to be worried about being invaded by a power-hungry fascist that we all elected, and they had no say in that decision. Nonetheless, they still have to deal with it. They have to deal with the bullshit of their neighbors. So I feel so bad for them. Now, I don't necessarily think Trump would invade Canada. At least I hope he's not crazy enough to do that. But still, Canadians are treating it as if it's a legitimate threat because they can't afford not to. In fact, the Canadian Prime Minister was caught on hot mic telling business leaders that the threat is very much real in his opinion, saying, I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know how many critical minerals we have, but that may even be why they keep talking about absorbing us and making us the 51st state. They're very aware of our resources, of what we have, and they very much want to be able to benefit from those. But Mr. Trump has it in mind that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and it is a real thing. And when you have the Canadian Prime Minister saying that,
being imperialist,
it's really, really sad, right? And there's a lot of theories as to why Donald Trump wants Canada. Some people are assuming that he's just epically trolling. Great job, sir. Others are speculating about whether or not.
And it's not funny to joke about that, Trump, so shut the fuck up.
He thinks that he's playing 4D chess with respect to trade. Who knows? Regardless, if a president sees that he is destroying a relationship with our neighbor and he's pissing off that entire country, you would think that he'd try to walk it back.
Same goes for Denmark.
If he cared at all about Canada or our relationship with them or American businesses. But instead, he chose to double down during his pre-Super Bowl interview. So in front of
speaking of Super Bowl, he was booed at the Super Bowl too.
Yeah.
Plus, he's probably butthurt because he thought the Chiefs were going to win, and the Eagles humiliated him and crushed them 40-22. Oh, what a beautiful Super Bowl it was! I got to see defense, sacks, and interceptions everywhere. It was glorious.
Millions and millions and millions of people.
To hear.
He said it again because
imagine being down 34-0 at one point in the Super Bowl.
To a group of Canadian businessmen, he was
I saw that.
Meeting. He said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a quote real thing. Is it a real thing?
Keep it to Vicky 2 and Agent History Free, Trump. How about that one?
Yeah. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state.
And they'd probably try to make Australia the 52nd state. And then Britain the 53rd.
Sorry, pal. Canada would be worse off as a state. Plus, do you Trumpsters really want Canada to be the 51st state? Because you know they're by and large very liberal. So do you want a second California who... Definitely, if hypothetically America did take over Canada, what do you think they're going to do if they vote? They're going to forever vote against Republicans because we took them over. Yep. Like, come on. You're going to permanently make a Republican majority, Democratic majority forever. Do you really want that? Stop being stupid.
Because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st...
Oh, yeah, we're giving them a subsidy. Yeah, sure, pal, sure.
I don't mind doing it.
He is genuinely fucking insane. And the fact that he got a single vote, let alone 77 million, speaks to our collective idiocy as a country. And after seeing him say again and again and again that he wants to annex Canada...
Fuck off.
I mean, is anyone surprised to see their hatred for us grow? I mean, imagine for a second... if the shoe was on the other foot and Canada was threatening to annex America and
all of a sudden conservatives would freak out and want to invade Canada instantly.
Absolutely. Not the best example because Americans' interest in moving abroad has surged after the election. Although to be fair, that doesn't happen after every election. I do remember after Biden winning, there were conservatives saying that they were going to move to Canada, which is an interesting choice because even though Canada has their own problems, it's a much more progressive country by and large than America. But when it comes to Canada in particular, I asked my followers on Twitter and Blue Sky how they would hypothetically vote if a state held a referendum to join Canada, and as you can kind of see here, the overwhelming majority of the people enthusiastically said that they would vote yes, specifically because
even though my life would be better as a Canadian, I would say no, I would stay American forever because that's how I am. I'm not treasonous and treacherous like conservatives, sorry.
Of Canada's healthcare system. Now, obviously, this isn't scientific, nor is it representative of the general population. I feel like that goes without saying, but still, their responses are pretty interesting in my opinion, nonetheless. And I'll link to the threads to those down below if you want to read more responses. But the point is that Canada is an objectively better country than the United States by almost every metric. And Trump's shenanigans are only strengthening Canada's national identity. So, on behalf of America,
that's what they are. And they want to redo the War of 1812.
I sincerely apologize.
Yes, but against the whole planet.
I'm so sorry.
Like Jackson Dinkelberg.
Yes, that's what it is, because he loves that sort of shit.
And he's jealous he can't do it in 52 like I could and done before.
Yes,
we had to get you back, for Drake and Justin Bieber and Steven Crowder. But I acknowledge this is in no way a proportional response. We went too far. So I hope that we can still be friends.
Great powers in Europe with no
mostly, I hope that you're going to welcome at least some of us as refugees one day in the event we're forced to apply for asylum. Not all of us are dipshits. Most of us are, but not all of us. So please understand that even though we elected this guy, a lot of us
sound like a dipshit.
Did not want this to happen, and we apologize to anyone that we hurt.
I'm going to do something here. I've just thought of
idiots. Oh, who can? I am.
By the way, I was lying.
I can at least acknowledge I'm a dipshit, unlike Trumpsters. All right. So yeah, what do you guys say about Trump trying to do stupid tariffs and not the based ones like Biden did, and making Canada rise up again with their nationalism, which is based?
I'm just testing something, checking something right now. Divide by... Okay. So, how many seats would you have? You've got a population similar to that of Cali. So...
You'd probably get about like 50 seats.
Oh yeah, they'd get over... I'm just looking for the numbers, how the numbers would change.
Because they would have to add seats, remember?
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be 535 forever, plus 2 senators.
I'm trying to think. 475. Yeah, it's now 475. So it'll be 435 seats.
Yep. That's what it is right now.
435 seats for a population of 400. That would be...
Oh yeah, we would be almost 400 million if Canada joined too.
Like yeah, you'd be 375. You'd be 375 million people,
and still third in the world. Oof.
Yeah.
But hey, we would be the biggest country in the world, I think. Then.
Yeah.
Russia, you would no longer be the biggest country by land size. Oof.
Let's save. Okay, so let's save the numbers. Let's do a little bit of rounding here. Those population of 40.1.9 million people. What was the combined number? Okay. 375 divided by that's what. Oh, hang on, I'm doing this the wrong way. Hang on.
That sounds like some conservative level of skill right there. Yes, if we did take over Canada, we would be the biggest country in land size. Let's go.
Nice.
And Russia would be very jealous.
334.9.
You love doing math, sir, which conservatives hate.
Yep.
Math offends us.
I'd probably do divide on that, and...
That's some stupid anime stuff, math, you talking about. All we want to do is sexualize Ayaka.
There we go.
Because she's based 14-year-old.
They want to do a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot younger. Because remember, they have those borderline pedophilic, kid fantasy show things. I don't remember what they're called, but
Lollycoon and
What?
Lollycoon.
The beauty pageants. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. They would love to see Ayaka wear a maid outfit. Sorry, pal. You got to wait till later on the series, and no sexualization either. So, how many congressmen would we have if Canada was nice enough to join? Against their will, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to calculate it out here. Hang on, 1.16. So, it'd be...
All this work to figure out a hypothetical.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to get it back. Hang on, wait. Well, that one is... That's that, which would mean it'd be B over C 52. So we know... So we now know the answer. And we have the population of America. So it'll be... So it would be the ratio... It'll be times... Yes! No, that's not it. That's gone the wrong way. Hang on. Oh, no, it has. Yes, good. Okay, because it would knock down the other countries. Okay, $52. There we go. And...
we all just know, do we need to do any math? We know Republicans would never win again if Canada became a state.
Okay. California would go to... So, they're all... Alabama would go down to 6. Arizona would go down to 8. Arkansas would go down to 3. California would go down to 46. Colorado would go down to 7. Connecticut would go down to 4. Florida would go down to 25. Georgia would go down to 12. Illinois would go down to 15. Indiana would go down to 8. Iowa, Kansas would go down to 3. Well, they might stay at 4, actually, doing rounding. Kentucky and Louisiana would go down to 5. Maryland, your state would lose 1 seat, Tim. They go down to 7.
Please be here,
Massachusetts would go down to 8. Michigan would go down to 11. Minnesota would go down to 7. Missouri would go down to 7.
Would still be free, most likely.
New Jersey goes down to 11, maybe even 10. New York goes down to 23. North Carolina goes down to 12. Ohio goes down to 13. Oklahoma goes down to 4. Oregon goes down to 5. Pennsylvania goes down to 15. South Carolina goes down to 6. South Dakota would stay on 1. Tennessee would go down to 8. Texas would fall to 34. Virginia would go down to 10. Washington would go down to 9. Wisconsin would go down to 7. And Canada would gain 47 seats.
Which sounds about the same, or maybe one bigger, one less than California.
Yeah, they'd have one more than California.
Again, enjoy making a big blue state, Republicans. Guarantee losing.
Yeah.
Oof, oof, imagine imperialism to fuck you over. And then when we win, we're going to give them independence because they're nice and all that.
Yep.
Because we're not imperialist dogs like you are. All right.
Exactly.
So after all that math out of the way, how about we laugh at weirdos again? So yeah, next topic, of course. Conservatives are weak beta males. Which we known, but oh my goodness. Ever since Trump came back in, they show that they have severe daddy issues. And for some reason, I've experienced this firsthand, they're obsessed with my dad, too. That I don't have a dad around my house. Why are you all so obsessed about my dad for? All he does is just play video games and do Facebook all day. Why does that matter to you?
It's because they're beta males.
Sounds like they're obsessed with my dad in a sexual way or something. I wonder if they do it for you, too.
I'd rather not, considering how much Sam Cedar looks like him. Genuinely, it's kind of freaky. even down to Sam having a similar white beard. And it being almost fully white, like my dad's is. Of course, Sam's a few years younger than my dad, but since my dad's 60, so he's 56. But yeah, they look quite similar.
And my dad's 62 now. So yeah, let's go watch Kyle make fun of Republicans being obsessed over our dads or whatever. So weird.
You know, one day somebody's going to do a comprehensive study on the psychosexual aspect of MAGA and how we got to a point where a guy like Trump, who's got insecurity written all over him,
because you're all insecure,
the leader for
insecure.
A group of,
as Jesse Lee
we all know what
for. A Freudian can have a field day with this group, man. Let me tell you. So there's been a bunch of examples recently. I got to share this with you guys. They keep calling him daddy. They keep calling Trump daddy. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was kidding. I'm not. I'm dead serious.
You're all
Here's one example for you. This is Mel Gibson. He was on Fox News. Listen to what he said.
Anti-Semite Mel Gibson.
I'm glad Trump's here at the moment. You know, it's like daddy arrived and he's taking his belt off, you know.
Why am I not surprised?
That's the first and last and only time I've ever heard anybody reference a scenario like that as a positive thing. Oh, isn't it great when daddy shows up and takes his belt off and whoops his kid's ass? Probably because the dad is
like being
alcoholic
to kids,
and underachieved in his life and is miserable
violent
and angry and he's
savages.
taking it out on his kids and abusing
they want
them.
to rape Ayaka so badly.
Like, thank God. Thank God.
And then maybe
somebody here to
soon
do child abuse.
Kohaku and Haruko.
Everybody relax. The child abuser is here. Good stuff, right?
And don't forget others that are even younger, like single-digit in age.
Daddy's home.
I guess the good thing there's no females that are that young in my Blossoming Summer yet.
Freudian can have a fucking field day. Now, I didn't bother to pull up all the different examples, but as Mehdi Hassan points out here, Tucker Carlson said the same thing. Called Trump daddy.
Woo, Mehdi Hassan
said the same thing.
Good to know he's still alive and hasn't been assassinated
what
yet.
What kind of daddy issues do they all have that they're obsessed with referring to Trump as daddy?
Look, just because you have daddy issues does not mean you need to
serious problem.
Project on to everyone else.
Movement
exactly.
Maybe just because you don't have a dad in your life doesn't mean you have to project on to us. We have dads in our life now.
Oh, it's the Democrats and
we have no problem being open about our sexuality and all that, unlike you all.
Exactly.
They're followers and they're not leaders and they're not alpha. And they don't believe in like traditional
about people and a gay guy doing the deed with another guy.
No, they're like a Tem in Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. If you're a ghost, then I'm straight.
Masculinity roles. Let me ask you, even if you believe in such a framework of traditional masculinity, how the fuck?
They're like Kaiba as well.
Grown men.
That Kaiba needs to get laid.
How does that fit in?
Totally.
To the paradigm of traditional masculinity.
And then Kaiba's computer be like, you really do need to get laid.
Goes beyond just calling him daddy. And you all know that.
I want to get laid by a blue-eyed white dragon.
Example of it here for you.
Yep.
Ted Cruz. Remember, this is the guy who
looks like the rules just got screwed.
And he came in second.
Yeah.
He came in second.
Imagine not knowing.
Screw the money I have rules. Wait, let me try that again.
Screw the rules. I have green hair. Imagine.
Well, that was really weird. I think I should cut down on the drugs.
Imagine being so boring and plain you don't know Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge series, people.
On the Republican side.
That's awesome.
How old you have to be?
Routinely.
Friendship speech.
Took low blow attacks against Ted Cruz's dad.
Conservatives, you better not have your name Steve, because Miracle might control you.
Accused him of killing JFK.
In
Remember,
Canada.
Trump had links to all those smart tabloid magazines.
Canada.
He got them to run a story
Britain,
saying Ted Cruz's dad
as is their name, Daughters of the Roses.
Hey, I need to play it on YouTube
Trump
eventually
also
again.
very famously basically said, Ted, I wouldn't even fuck your wife. She's ugly. It was, I don't know if you remember it, but there was a tweet. You saw Melania
I'm Ted Cruz, man. It was a beta male.
And it said something like,
I'm Ted Cruz. That's me. No, that's a sin. I mean women.
Ted Cruz's wife. And that was when we got that famous moment where Ted Cruz said, Don, you little sniveling coward, leave my wife out of this. He said something to that effect.
And then he cucked himself to Trump because he's a beta male.
Ted Cruz said, vote your conscience at the RNC, but then all
and
of
he would be
his
such a beta male to let his wife get fucked by him.
Yes.
Like all you Trumpsters do, because you are weakens.
For Trump. Me, okay, vote for him. Me.
You're as pathetic as a creakin'.
Shit on my wife and shit on my dad, but vote for him. Me. I'm Ted Cruz. Me.
Actually, more pathetic.
So ready for
no wonder women don't like you conservatives, because they're smart.
Now, Trump, as you know, said nothing about Greenland or Panama.
No wonder us progressive men don't like conservative women here, because we're not stupid.
9% of the country support this warmongering we're doing with Panama and Greenland. 9%.
You cause instant flaccidity.
Ted Cruz, the servile little beta
kill
boy
all
that
erections.
He is, he decides to talk about this issue, and listen to what he says.
Greenland, on the other hand, I think is a very serious policy proposal.
Yes, stealing Greenland, such an important,
very
impressive policy proposal.
To steal Greenland
for his
billionaire backer, Peter Thiel. Very serious.
And if they take it over, a Republican proposed that we rename it Red, White, and Blue Land or whatever. Oh my God!
What the
to give the
fuck?
To steal literal entire countries for robber barons. This is like above and beyond class imperialism.
This is like
imperialism 2.0.
Even stupider than
directly stealing it for his billionaire backer.
I'll tell you, I had a conversation this week with the Danish ambassador to the United States. And look, Denmark's a little freaked out by all this conversation.
Denmark has a valid reason to be freaked out, sir. How about that one?
And I'll tell you what I told the ambassador.
Because they're thinking that you're going to use Greenland to invade Denmark proper.
It's our friend. You are our ally. You will continue to be our friend and ally. But
friend and ally when you try to take over a territory of theirs.
Friends and allies can have conversations. Yeah. And the ambassador said, well, Greenland's not for sale. I said, that's fine. Everything's for sale.
They just said, you dipshit, that Greenland's not for sale.
Like
they said in 2019, and they said it right after World War II, for crying out loud. Even when they were destroyed by the Nazis, they still said no to selling Greenland. Hasn't it made abundantly clear no means no? You ever heard of consent? Oh, that's right. Republicans don't believe in consent.
I've never heard consent.
They don't believe in consent.
Exactly. They don't believe in it. And they don't believe in it, and they don't want anyone else to believe in it either.
They don't believe it for women, and they don't believe it for countries either.
They don't believe it for children either.
And by the way, if you maintain that, one of the things this has produced is a growing independence movement in Greenland.
Totally.
And if you do nothing, you may end up getting nothing for Greenland because...
pal, if Greenland wanted to break away from Denmark, they want to be independent. They don't want to be involved with America. How about that?
Exactly.
Right. I find
Again, leave it to Vicky 2 or Age of History 3.
Would say, wait a second, I get to be an American.
Their poll just showed positive results. They just did a survey there.
To become an American.
No, they did not. There is no poll that says Denmark wants to become America. No. It's just stop the bullshit.
We can give anyone
exactly.
By the way, that's not true. Of course, the people of Greenland are completely against it.
Thank you,
If you want to talk about having people become states or part of the U.S., how about Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. territory? How about that?
But they're full of minorities, so
how about that? No, skip right over those. Go right to Greenland. Lie.
Because, they want to stick more people in their gas chamber.
Greenland is not for sale. Wrong. Everything's for sale. Ted Cruz
really? Everything's for sale when they say
Greenland
no.
Just a few months ago. believed
Oh,
nothing
but how about
having
America
Greenland
being
part of the US.
vassal
Never
to
thought about it,
Canada
never
and
cared about
Mexico?
it, never considered it, never came to his mind.
Sir,
Never.
that's war talk.
Now, Trump farts it out one day.
Your
right?
existence
like,
is
yes,
war talk.
Yes, sir. I am totally with you. I've always said that about Greenland. Greenland should totally be part of the U.S. Me, I'm Ted Cruz. Me.
How about
and
now?
The ambassador. I was talking tough to the ambassador and saying, "Daddy Trump is right, and you better make a deal with us because we're gonna come take you."
Imagine being as stupid as Ted
Beta
Cruz.
behavior.
Yeah.
Beta.
If Kamala Harris
Beta male, beta male, beta male.
Harris won the
As
election,
Jesse Lee Peterson calls you out.
and let's say she started talking about, you know what? The Bahamas is really close to us geographically. We want it. We're going to take it. Not in a million years would I go out there and be, that's a great point. I spoke to the ambassador of the Bahamas and said, oh, you might want to be independent, but you get a lot of benefits by joining us, so Kamala's right. Not in a million years would I sink to that level. I actually believe in shit.
Exactly.
I actually have principles
Except in Vicky 2 and Age of History 3.
And policy ideas.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to be.
That undergirds it. But these people believe in nothing. They believe in... Ted Cruz is a bitch to the donor class, and now he's added to that list. I'm a bitch to Donald J. Trump.
And he's
whatever
a
loser,
loser,
the fuck he says,
like all you
whatever he wants to do,
are.
whatever he vomits out, whatever he impulsively regurgitates on any given day, I'm right there to defend it. The right has a genuine and sincere beta problem.
And you're all in the
Literally
closet.
all of them are followers. Let me ask you a question. Do you think all the elected Republican politicians in Washington, D.C., they saw Trump pardon
sexuality, unlike
January
you
6
all.
rioters and insurrectionists?
Exactly.
45% of which were violent and committed a felony. 140 officers were assaulted that day, including
so much
one
for
officer
Blue
got a
Lives
stun
Matter.
gun to his neck. One of the criminals was wearing a Camp Auschwitz shirt.
It's just
One of the
MAGA
people,
lives matter.
Not only a violent criminal,
And
a
even-
fredophile who was released by Trump, right? Do you think all of them are... Yes, I am principally in favor of releasing cop assaulters and fredophiles. Do you think they actually believe that? No, every single one of them wanted Trump to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, go on a case-by-case basis. Hey, the non-violent ones you can release. The violent ones definitely don't release. They all said beforehand, oh, he's not going to just bulk release them. He's going to go through it, and the violent ones will stay behind bars, and the other ones won't.
We warned you
this
all.
is what they
You're
thought.
too stupid.
Then he comes in like a fucking wrecking ball, releases all of them, including violent criminals and fredophiles.
And by the way, so many of them have done
virtually
something.
Metacom theory right away.
Yep, so many of them have already been locked back up again for doing like sexual assaults. One of my family got killed in a shootout with cops.
Yeah.
Again, that's why you never released January 6th protesters. They should have all been locked up forever, as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe like
Fuck
2 or
them.
3. That's it. The rest of them, mum's the word, or they got to go out there and defend it, like the little servile, sycophantic beta bitches they are. And that's what you're seeing here.
Exactly.
With Ted Cruz. You got countless Republicans calling Trump daddy, and you have Trump coming up with preposterous ideas that he didn't even run on, and they're all right there vying to... I'm actually the most in favor of stealing Greenland because Donald Trump thought about it, and I love Donald Trump. I'm Ted Cruz. Me.
Sad, pathetic.
Look at
cocks,
this little
every one of you.
bulbous,
Yes.
pudgy,
Yep, they're all
weasel
Republicans.
meat sack.
Shake
Look at his
my
little
head.
bulbous body.
Looks like Ayaka needs
stupid.
to
And
shame
also,
you
by the
all.
way, I love the, the rogue, independent-minded
You must
podcast
be
sphere, the all-in
progressive. God
podcast. He's sitting
commands
with
it.
that Chamath guy and the other dude. And
Yep.
they're all saying, yeah, stealing Greenland. We're independent free thinkers and we're anti-establishment, bro. Totally, bro.
Man, they're gonna be mad when they see Boonco in Volume 3 being based and all that.
The robber baron billionaire. We support that because we're like independent thinkers and stuff, bro. We're anti-establishment.
They're gonna be triggered by a Westaboo.
The whole lot
Exactly,
of them. A
yeah.
lot of them are fucking useless. They're all useless.
Imagine a
pathetic
Japanese
followers.
middle school girl being
Every
obsessed with
last
America.
Hey, y'all, do me a
Like a
favor.
reverse
Like and
weeb.
subscribe. It helps out.
Who admits it in the end of Volume 3 that she has to be progressive because you conservatives are so fucking insane. Because any foreign that follows American politics has to be progressive by default because Republicans are fucking stupid and they deserve to be mocked and laughed at.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you guys say about conservatives being beta males as they always are?
We've always known that.
Look, just because you're not happy with your sexuality doesn't mean you have to project it onto us. accept that you're beta males, accept that you're gay too, and come out of the closet. Accept it like we do. And just be mad that we have the best women unlike you all. And you'll never get crystal ball eater, pals. How about that?
Yep.
They're still jealous. Alright, and with that, we've just covered all the video topics. Now, we just covered the only last speaking topics. So now, let's get to our next ones to get us very angry.
I'm fucking up Ukraine and Gaza. Thank you, dumb leftists. And not just Ukraine either, but they're fucking up Moldova and Georgia too.
So much for Trump being the anti-war candidate. Am I right, people? So, of course, ever since the last episode, Trump has done stupid stuff to try and fuck over both Ukraine and the Palestinians. First, we'll get to the Palestinians one because that was the oldest one. So, Trump, first off, he's letting Israel violate the ceasefire agreement. Gee, why am I not surprised?
Of course.
And
Israel, of course, he's encouraging conflict. Wants to encourage conflict between, you know, the Zionist state of Israel and the Neo-Ottoman Empire.
And don't forget Iran too coming up as well.
Yep.
So,
the other total one, we World War III with China, because you know they're not just going to fire nukes into Iran, they're going to fire ICBMs into China.
So, yeah, and not only that, Trump had even the stupidest idea, even by Trump, I didn't expect him to say this. He wanted to occupy Gaza under American control.
Yes, I remember that.
Like, I wonder how Bibi would feel about that one. That would be kind of awkward. Wait, we were supposed to control and genocide the Palestinians, not you guys. So, it's so stupid and weird that even I am flabbergasted by it. Like, I expect him to let Israel genocide the Palestinians. Well, yeah, that's expected, but try to occupy Gaza on their own? Yeah, real smart. Real stupid, of course. And then he's
stupidest idea they've had yet.
Yep. Then he backtracked on it. And then Kyle covered that he doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on it because he's a fucking moron. He doesn't know what he's thinking because he's stupid. And of course, he wants to reoccupy Gaza and, of course, with his rich family, rebuild it to make it wealthy and real estate.
Make it a white colonialist state.
And kick all the Palestinians to Jordan and Egypt when they don't want them either.
Yep. Because they've already had enough trouble with their own populations.
And plus, of course, Israel's fucking them up too.
Of course.
So
they're fucking up the entire Middle East.
So yeah, Trump wants to take over
fucking up the
Gaza
entire world
and turn it into beachfront and kick out all the Palestinians, just like we did with the Native Americans. I wonder how that good went out. So, yeah, absolute fucking moron. And, of course, Trumpsters on conservative Reddit fervently defended it at all costs because they love imperialism and they hate minorities, especially Muslims.
Exactly.
So, yeah. How's that for anti-war, pal? How about that one? So, yeah, that's his stupid idea when it comes to Gaza. Then you get to Ukraine, which recently, Trump, oh my god, the amount of stuff I've seen over the last few days, especially on Ukraine's Reddit. Let's see, first he blamed Biden and NATO for the Russo-Ukraine war.
Of course he did.
You do know this war started in 2014, right? So now, I guess blaming Obama is no longer good enough anymore. You gotta blame Biden somehow. Okay. Even though it was the Russian Nazi state that started it all, but okay. So, yeah, that was the first part. Then, of course, Trump, being a dipshit that he is talking to Putin again. Yeah, because that's real nice and nice.
So they can not just steal all of Ukraine, but all of Moldova and all of Georgia as well.
And Trump, being an idiot, would be like, you know what, buddy old Putler, how about I re-give you Alaska? We were wrong to buy it from you.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And you know the dumb leftists are like, every country east of Germany is an American Nazi terrorist organization and should be annexed by Russia.
Until they meet Poland, of course, who will give them a bloody nose for that one. And Finland, too.
Poland would give a lot more than just a bloody nose to Russia, and they'd probably just invade Belarus and annex it and kill everyone there.
And they're going to do it with absolutely zero effort because Russia and Belarus have no army whatsoever compared to Poland. And then you saw what happened last time you messed with Finland. Russian World War II, it didn't go so well. That's why you're a laughingstock for that one, too. So, yeah, he wants to do that. And Trump is trying to not only talk with Putin again, but is trying to do deals to try and force Ukraine to surrender. And, of course, part of the deal would be, and, of course, stupid dipshit, whoever the Secretary of Defense or State is, because I don't know who the fucker is, so that Ukraine will not join NATO and they have to give up on getting back territory, which is absolutely unacceptable. And no, they're not. Ukraine's not going to surrender no matter what. And Putin's not going to give up either unless he gets all of Ukraine. Again, neither side is going to surrender. What part do you not understand? It's everything or nothing as far as they're concerned. And you need to treat it as such, which means give Ukraine every single weapon they need to get back their land and crush Nazis.
Pretty much.
But again, when you're a Nazi too, you will support them. So yeah, Trump already trying to fuck up Ukraine, which remember is the main reason why I had to vote against him back in February around this time. Because he said
I remember that the CIA agents on the quote-unquote true left are the ones who love that.
Yep. And of course,
they claim themselves to be the true leftists, but really, as you said, they're dumb leftists, and actually, they're almost indistinguishable.
That
Trump
would encourage.
Like I said, at some point, on the authoritarian scale, left and right just becomes meaningless.
Yep, I remember that night when Trump said he would encourage Putin to invade NATO if they don't pay 2% spending, and that's what was like, now I gotta vote for that old man Biden because of your big mouth, Trump. So yeah, thank you, dipshit, for making me have to vote for Biden and then eventually Kamala because of your big fucking mouth. So yeah, and then also, fuck you, dumb leftists. How much of a fool do you look like now and all that? Look, if you didn't want to vote for Kamala or the Democrats because of what happened to Gaza, unlike liberals and all that would shame you for it, that's fine. If you want to vote for her.
Understand why. If you
don't want to vote for her, fine. If you want to don't vote at all, fine. If you want to vote Green Party or whatever, fine. But there is one thing
don't vote for Trump.
Yeah, there's one thing we will never, ever, ever accept. Don't vote for Republicans, ever. That is one thing you absolutely never, ever, ever do. And a whole bunch of dipshit, dumb leftists online were acting like, I thought Trump was going to be based in all that. Or
no, he's not. Or he will never be.
Or, of course, they're somehow blaming liberals for all this that Trump's doing, even though it's Trump's fault he's doing all this, because it's all about blaming libs and all that.
Yep.
And, of course,
they blame the liberals everything. And liberals and, of course, the Jews.
Yeah, looking at you, Nico and all them. Oh, God.
Yep.
So, and, shit, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. Making all excuses, genocide this, genocide that, even though we supported Jill Stein, who supported genocide of Ukrainians and Uyghurs, but let's not bring that up.
Ukrainians, Moldovans, and Georgians.
So, yeah, guys, all of you look like clowns, and we were right along as always. So, Palestinians, fight on to defend yourself, and same goes for Ukraine. Whatever Trump and Putin do, you just say no and keep fighting on no matter what. Fight to the very end. So yeah, what do you guys see about these dipshits once again making a fool of themselves?
No surprise, that's the CIA agents, Scott. That's the CIA for you. Dividing people on both sides of the aisle to turn against each other so then they can run out the door and do whatever the fuck they want.
Again, imagine being dumb leftists and not progressives. Alright. And now, we're on our final topic, the topic we want to talk about for a long time. Men's issues. Something we need to talk about for a long time, since apparently this is a big reason why Trump won last time, because so many men voted for him, even among Gen Z and all that, and such.
Yeah.
And how fitting, on Valentine's Day, we're going to bring it up. So, of course, I wrote down all the issues I could think of earlier today that men have to deal with. And that was loneliness, suicide, dealing with women, divorce, child custody, crime, conscription, violence, and sexual violence too. And of course, the big one that conservatives hate, toxic masculinity. Alright, so let's try and get into this to show you why progressives and the left are actually pro-men and conservatives hate men. So of course, the first thing is that men are dealing with loneliness and such like that.
Yes.
Now, well, first off, everyone is facing loneliness. It's not just men. Now, women will face loneliness. Now, it is a societal problem because when women need something, they usually get help. Men are screwed over in that regard. And all that, which is not good. So, yeah, we need to fix loneliness and all that. But also, a lot of it is also you men's fault, too, for how you act. Which is something that...
But remember, there is various degrees to toxic masculinity.
Yep, which we're going to get to as well. But some of it is your guys' fault, too, that you're lonely. Because of how you act. And we're going to get to the women part, too, because that's a big reason why. So, some of it is your guys' fault, and you need to change how you act, and you won't be so lonely anymore. But yeah, society needs to help men out when they're lonely and all that.
Exactly, yeah.
Suicide.
And men need to work together on it as well.
Yep, which means be progressive, because us progressive men can help you out in that regard. All right, the next one is suicide, because men... wasn't that men commit suicide more often than women? I know they're
way more, yes.
Yeah, or at least, do they attempt it more, or was it their... Well, I know they're more successful, but do they attempt it more than women? Because I remember... Because I remember
I think we figured out. I think it was figured out. Women attempt more often, but men succeed far more often.
Yeah, because men do more violent means, whereas women do like more like non-violent reasons. So they're able to like survive it, whereas men are less likely to survive it. So yeah, so it seems like women attempt suicide more but fail, whereas men are less likely but more successful at it and such like that. Yeah. Now, of course, why are men committing suicide and all that? Well, for a lot of the reasons we're going to be bringing up too, along with loneliness and all that. Again, we need to promote policies that help men not want to be suicidal at, and that's what progressive policies do. Because a lot of it also, the big reason I'm pretty sure wasn't the main reason for suicide usually comes down to like financial reasons. Wasn't that the big one?
Yes, a lot of it is financial.
Well, guess what? Progressive policies would help everyone, including men. So that would help lower suicide rates. Oh, here's a good example, because conservatives always love to bring it up. Suicide rate among trans people. Like we brought up before.
Yes, so high. Especially with the
reason why suicide rates for trans people are so high is because you dipshit transphobic conservatives won't accept them for who they are. When they are in families that support them for who they are, suicide rates drop down 15/16 and all that. So it's like a 90+% reduction.
93.875%.
So yeah, if you accept people for who they are, they won't kill themselves. And if they're better off financially, they won't kill themselves either. So again, progressive policies would help men's issues on suicide. And this is probably going to be up there as like one of the biggest ones. Dealing with problems they have with women. Now, of course...
Yeah, you gotta...
Well, it's
to therapy. Talk to actual women. Get off the internet and touch grass.
It's a whole multifaceted thing and all that. But first, before we bring it up, maybe we should talk about our experiences with women. Do you have any? Especially like anything like romantic and all that?
Not really.
Because I
mostly just few friends in high school, and I haven't had a serious relationship in my whole life. So
well, I guess this will apply to me too, because you already know I've had 2 exes before. And have I ever told you how I got screwed over both times because of them?
No.
My first ex emotionally took advantage of me for like over a year or so, and kept being keep being like playing hard to get and playing with my emotions on that, and broke my heart God knows how many times. And the second ex, she just wanted me for sex and all that. And not only that, she would leave me high to dry after we fuck, if you get what I'm saying. I got the woman's experience. I made her come, and then she goes to sleep, leaving me with my rage and erection with nothing. So, yeah, I've had a lot of experiences, toxic experiences with women that these men cry about more. And that's why I've pretty much swore off relationships for like 13 plus years now and plan on keeping it going. But, see, unlike them, I don't become a raging incel and right-wing dipshit like they are. I know not all women are like that. And likewise, not all men are like these incel weirdos.
Exactly, yes.
There are piece of shit women and there are piece of shit men. There are good men, there are good women. And since you probably have more experience with women with friends, maybe you should bring it up now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you hear about a lot of the experiences when it comes to their. I think I figured out basically during their life, every single woman has been sexually harassed, literally, at some point in their lives. So unwanted sexual advances, probably three and four. A quarter of women are going to be sexually assaulted in their lives. A quarter of children. This one is actually the only differences come about with age, where around early school age, the rate of sexual abuse against girls takes off, and it's usually not until boys hit stage 2 of puberty that they catch up, between about 9 and 12.
And of course,
But yeah, like they're a bit wary at first because, of course, pretty much every woman's had some form of experience with over-aggressive men.
Yep.
Because a lot of the men, those types of men, guess what? They may be a small number, but they'll have done this to 50,000 women in their lifetimes.
Yep, because like I said, it's multifaceted. So like how many female friends you have, for example? You there?
A fair few.
Like all your life? Because like me,
I don't really have any like lifelong female friends. My childhood friends, I lost contact with pretty much all of them. Well, then again, I think I don't actually have it. The friends I had in early childhood, I don't have anymore. Even the female or male. I think the earliest one I have that I remember that is not connected with some form of family-like bond is a 4th year. I've had known since 4th year. And most of the rest of my friends are from either high school, uni, or post-uni.
Like me, I'm not kidding. When I left public school in June of 2002, outside of my exes, I did not have any female friend until my Mayumi. 14 years gap. I went that long without knowing any women outside of like my mom and family. That's how long I went. And that's a big reason too, not having any women around you. Now, of course, like I said, multifaceted. So a lot of women have to deal with piece of shit men all the time. And that's why a lot of women are not so keenly on board of being around men all the time, because a lot of you men are just straight up pieces of shit. And you don't want to accept that, so that's why you make excuses for it and blame women and feminism and whatever. When in reality, a lot of it is just you. You're the problem.
Exactly.
If you get yourself fixed, like get therapy and touch grass, like the based Aussie said, you'd be in a lot better shape. Or you could be like me and just swear them off forever, but be based progressive still.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, what you had to say about my 2 exes then?
They were terrible, but they're not. But it's definitely the case that they would then far from representative of women.
Exactly, which a lot of these people don't get. Not all women suck. Not all men suck too. Both have problems. Need to work it out together. But we have to judge and shame men when they act as bad as they do.
Exactly.
And shame women when they act bad too. Goes both ways and such. So, yeah, a multifaceted approach that, again, progressive policies help in that regard. Not dipshit conservative policies that tell men to treat women like crap and that they're property. That is unacceptable.
Exactly.
All right.
That is beyond unacceptable.
Next up, because we covered this a long time ago, like one of the first things on last.
Divorce.
Yeah, because remember that video Kyle covered about some couple in Australia getting divorced, and like the woman ended up becoming like the richest woman in Australia from the divorce alone, and how stupid that was.
I remember that. Oh God.
So yeah, another problem men have is divorce laws. Now, of course, we have to be careful when we talk about this, because a lot of men, when they bring this up, it's because they don't like divorce, period. And a lot of them just want to ban divorce and force women to stay married with them. That's unacceptable.
Exactly,
and go fuck off if you think that.
Yeah, morons.
So, let's focus on actual valid reasons and not let's ban divorce entirely.
Exactly.
Now, Is there some instances where maybe women are benefited more in divorce cases? Like the Australian woman that we just brought up? Yes.
Yep.
Like the fact that she became the richest woman in Australia just from a divorce, that's ridiculous. Like I think she took like half the money he had, wasn't it? Or something ridiculous. Yep. And it's not just that she took half the money. She took half the money that she never even worked for. Like he did like almost all the work.
Exactly, yeah.
Like we and Kyle point out. Maybe a few $100 million at most, which is maybe ridiculous, and probably a lot of these people would be not okay with it, but that's probably extent. But, God, the billion she got, and she did nothing? Absolutely not. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And all that.
That's insane.
And other shit in that regard. So, maybe we should reform divorce laws to make it more reasonable and all that. But we can't get rid of divorce laws entirely, which a lot of men want
definitely
to do.
not.
Absolutely not. Unacceptable, and you should be ashamed if you want to do that. And of course, Republicans over the last 2 years, starting with Steven Crowder, have advocated get rid of no-fault divorce. Don't trust him on this issue.
God. Well, you know why Crowder wants to do that? It's because his wife is divorcing him at the moment.
And he wants to beat her up all the time and smoke and fuck while she's pregnant.
And rape her, probably.
And
put his dick on his male colleagues because he's so in the closet they're having gay orgies in Narnia.
And fucking hit her off screen in the video we watched, remember?
Yep.
Alright, so next up, another thing that they cry about the most, child custody. Now, of course, we must point out, because this is something like MGTOWs, MRAs, and us never point out because they don't like this fact.
Yep.
Because I think it was like the vast majority of child custody case go towards women. More like women get child custody.
It is coming back towards the middle now. A lot more middle. It's coming a lot more towards the middle now.
Yeah, because I remember it used to be.
Because there have been a lot of changes in that regard in the last decade or so.
Yeah, because that's what I was about to bring. Because I remember that was a huge thing back in like 2015 and all that. But the reason we're bringing it up the reason why it's so it was so biased towards women is because the families usually agreed up front that the kids would go to the woman. That's usually why it was so biased. It wasn't because these guys act like, oh, the courts are just always signed with women by default and fucking men over. No, a lot of times it was just simply they just agreed to it and all that, and they just took that as like, see, this is how bad women, child custody cases, it fucks men over. Like, a lot of it is just they just agree to it, and that's something you have to recognize and accept for what it is.
Exactly.
Now, once you accept that, and we go through, maybe there is a lot of times they go to the women that don't deserve it, and then the father's bearing on it. And in that case, yes, they should go to the father more. It needs to go towards they need to try and figure out some way to maybe help have both parents have a chance at custody and all that.
Yeah.
Or share custody.
Shared custody is a lot like that. Shared custody tries to do.
Yeah. And of course, if only one parent could do it because the other parent is really, 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 really bad, then you look at each individual case. And if the mom sucks, then the dad should have them. But if the dad sucks, the mom should have them. It ain't that
hard. And of course, the child needs unmanipulated
which both parents would do.
An unmanipulated voice. Yeah.
Yep, that's very common. Both parents would try and manipulate their kids and all that. So yeah, we can look at, but child custody itself isn't bad and all that.
Yeah.
You need to we need to reform it, not outright get rid of it, which a lot of you people do. Again, progressive policies want to fix this. You guys don't.
Yes, precisely.
Right. Next up, crime. Of course, I find it funny how most of these guys would bring up like black crime rate and all that and blame blacks for the crime rate, but for some reason they only point out that men commit more crime than women and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Really suspicious and weird how that is the case. Now, here's the reality. Yes, men overwhelmingly commit more crime than women. Now, why is that? Well, one reason is because men are more aggressive by our nature. So, of course, by default, we're going to commit more crimes. Now, of course, not all men are aggressive and like that. We're not going to like just assume men are like that and all that. I have never once committed a crime yet. My record's spot clean, which makes conservatives mad. But a big reason, just like with blacks, because we point out too, yes, black crime rate's high. Why is black crime rate so high? It's because of economic reasons, which also applies to men too.
Particularly economic poverty
and education
and systemic existential racism.
Yeah. And of course, it also applies for men too. Men face economic hardship more usually than women, because again, society always helps women, Wendy, but men they don't.
Because remember that when it to the thing, men's like up down is they've got more extremes, while women are like more of a standard curve.
So yeah, it's the same reasons for blacks too. So what we do about this? Fix the give progressive economic policies. And fix education reform, which again is progressive policies that help men. And I didn't bring it up, but since I brought up education, because remember we brought this up like on the very first video that we covered on the PragerU takedown. Like men and women learn stuff differently. Okay, maybe do school. Like I know a lot of them are gonna be like do like segregated like gender schools and all that, which I don't like that idea, but. I mean, stats show men and women do learn differently, better in different ways and all that. Try and format around so it works and all that. It ain't that hard and all that, but a lot of you dipshit men's rights people want to take away all of it instead of being more reasonable on it. All right, this one I haven't seen talked about a lot, but it really should be brought more. Conscription. Of course, governments forcing men to fight in wars when they don't want to, like the Russo-Ukraine war recently and all that. Now, of course, as we bring up, I mean, MRAs and other people would bring up, why do the men have to always fight in these wars, but women don't have to? Well, the reason why is because men are stronger, remember? Like, you all you dipshits always...
Patriarchy.
Yeah, all you dipshits always make fun of women being weak and they can't do these jobs. Well, guess what? Us men are strong, and therefore, in some regards, we're forced to do it against our will because, hey, biology says we're stronger, so that's why. Now, now, of course, there's two ways you could fix this. One, you do the base thing like we want and just ban conscription completely. If you don't want to fight, you shouldn't have to. End of discussion. Or you can go the more egalitarian route and force women to conscript too. Which, hey, some countries have done that. Sweden, Israel, a whole bunch of others too. They do require women to be conscripted
rather
as well.
not have to. I don't think we should be. You should be doing that.
Yeah,
it's kind of. Dumb.
Yeah, and the best thing is no conscription period. But there's another option for egalitarianism if you want. But again, progressives and even feminists are pushing to try and get rid of conscription. But it's men that don't want to do that. So again,
especially those owned by the military-industrial complex.
We want to fix it. You guys don't. And next up is violence and sexual violence. Of course, we brought up that men are like are more aggressive by their nature, but also men are also by and large outside like sexual violence are the victims of violence themselves too. It's usually men committing violence on other men a lot of cases. So now why are men suffering like more violence and all that? Because again, aggression, and they do stuff that causes them to get injured and killed and all that. So again, it comes back to combating crime. Doing education and economic reforms on it that would lower crime and violence and all that.
Economic opportunities as well for those who need it.
And if and then of course we'll bring up sexual violence too, because this is another thing that people don't talk about. Men face sexual violence too, even from women.
It's nowhere near as common, but it does happen.
Just like we have to point out, like big example, of course, T.J. Kerr when he was sexually harassed at his work. That should not be allowed. It's unacceptable. Men get raped. And of course, remember the trope of men getting raped by other men in prisons and all that. That should not be allowed either. And society, by and large, doesn't take that seriously and all that, which is a failing on society's part. But guess what? Us progressives point out it's wrong and want to implement policies that fix it. Again, progressive policies for the W. All right, and then the final one, and this boils down to all of it, and I had to deal with someone on fucking Reddit earlier that I had to explain to them like 4 times, and they still wouldn't get it. Toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is honestly probably the root of all this stuff right here. Toxic masculinity, which of course dipshit conservatives will fervently deny, like the I had to deal with earlier, and all that. Toxic masculinity is real and is the big problem with it. Toxic masculinity believes that men should not be emotional, for example. They must be stoic at all times. They must bottle up their emotions. If you cry or be open about your emotions like women, then you are pussies.
Then you're a faggot and a nigger.
Yep. You're all faggots, and you all should be ashamed of yourselves. That's unacceptable. If you want to be open,
and also remember that women can partake in these sorts of things too.
I see it all the time. Be a man and all that. So stupid. And of course, oh god, I gotta find that thing on Reddit again that I replied to because I wrote down everything. That took like an hour to write. Let's see. Toxic masculinity is that men must be aggressive and strong at all times, unless you're, and if you're not a manly man and all that. Again, that's why violence and crime is high among men too, because they think they're supposed to. That's part of being themselves. Man. Yeah, you don't need to do that. You're a man because you're a man. What you do is manly and masculine and all that. You don't need to be violent and aggressive to prove that you're a man and all that. Right?
Exactly.
Being open to being vulnerable about themselves, which again is like emotional and all that.
And find the right people and ensure you've found the right people who will allow that to happen.
And that goes for relationships too. Because sex, that's one reason why women have problems with sex too. Because they can't be vulnerable and open to men and all that. Because they're always worried about stuff. So, that also applies to men too. And toxic masculinity, and this is a thing personally for me for toxic masculinity, is defending misogyny and homophobia and transphobia. Because you're not a real man if you like other men. You're not a real man if you treat women right. You're not a real man if you support LGBT rights. Wrong.
Exactly.
If you're pro women's rights, if you're pro LGBT rights, that is based Chad masculinity. Like us.
Exactly. Yes.
Progressive men are the based most masculine men in the world. So
yes, we are. And anyone who disagrees is a beta male.
Yep. Like all the dipshits we laughed at earlier.
Exactly.
So I think we covered all the topics that men have to deal with the most. Man, that took a lot of thinking of all the problems too and all that. You got anything else to add on?
Not really, no.
So what do you gotta say about men's issues?
Yeah, there's a lot there. Like, everyone has issues, especially in the techno-feudalist society we're in at the moment.
And also, we brought this up before when we made fun of, like, dipshit, dumb leftists and all that. A lot of progressives on the left, stop demonizing men. Now, you guys are not the representative of the Democratic Party, which I had to deal with earlier today, that dipshit saying, oh, they do. No, they're not. They're irrelevant and all that. But they do exist, and unlike Democrats and other dipshit leftists, we're not going to deny it. We're going to point out, and you guys are wrong. Men face issues, and they must be talked about. End of discussion.
Exactly,
just like we did. And you can promote progressive policies, too. And guess what? And you conservatives are not going to be happy hearing this, but do you know what ideology wants to fight this stuff, too? Feminism!
Progressivism!
Let's go!
Feminism and progressive. Yep, actual feminism, not the turf neo-Nazis or the other rad femmes that are more in line with conservatives and fascists than us on the left.
Yep, so, once again, progressive policies win on everything. We would get rid of male loneliness, suicides, problems with women, which would fix relationships, divorce, child custody, crime, conscription, violence, toxic masculinity, all that would be destroyed if you just vote for progressive people.
At least significantly, or at least very significantly weakened. Very significantly, or at least very significantly reduced, and we'd have better relations among everyone.
Another thing I just thought too, parenting. Yeah. Parents need to teach their kids to treat everyone right and respect and all that.
Yes.
And also
that I need to teach healthy emotional regulation and outlets to boys when they start boys in life.
The conservatives would be mad if we had sons and we teach them that being a base masculine man is being progressive. They are going to be mad. They're going to be open. They're going to be proud. They're going to be supporting women's rights and LGBT rights, and they can suck it.
Exactly.
So, once again, beta male conservatives got obliterated like Exodia, and us Chad progressive men, masculine men, win again.
As we always will.
Yep. And with that, guys, that was fun. That is it for this episode. So see you all next time for episode 123. And also, potentially tune in next Friday for something very cool that we've been planning for months. Yeah. Oh boy, that would be nice to do. So see you all next time.
See you guys then.
See you all next time. Ooh.